The following podcast contains naughty language and ridiculous situations. Listener discretion is advised.
What makes a horror movie? Is it blood? Is it guts? Is it scares? I don't know. Well, I do know. I do know what I think of it, and we're going to discuss that later on. But we're also going to do the film Gwen. We'll be discussing that. We'll be talking about what a horror film is, and the show wouldn't be complete in this new era without some more sound issues. So it's going to sound the way it has the last few weeks, but we will endeavor to continue on and get this thing all squared away. But until that happens, you are here listening to Trick or Treat Radio.
Zombies. You're listening to Trick or Treat Radio, starring the Deadites.
Welcome to episode 371 of Trick or Treat Radio. Trick or Treat Radio is the world's most dangerous podcast and is recorded in front of an undead studio audience here at Castle Wolfenstein and also at the Lair of Lost Swag within the Raven Chateau. We discuss at least one film a week. We argue, we make fun of each other, and, once again, we are soldiering on. We have some technical failings, but you know what? I'm kind of getting sick of talking about them, so got to fucking deal with it for now. But we do have a beat on what we could do to make this sound a little bit better. So bear with us, hopefully one more week, maybe one more after that, maybe another after that. But speaking of the Lair of Lost Swag, let me go ahead around the horn here and introduce everyone. We have the vulgar guru of horror, star of Blood Pig's Fetus, the upcoming Morbid Tales, and Septic, one-time contributor for Horror Hound magazine, Monster Zero.
Howdy ho!
All right. We also have the...
What do you want me to say? Hello. Hi, everybody.
Oh, something interesting at least. Jeez.
All right.
Next week.
Next week, yeah.
Next
It's a
week.
cliffhanger.
Give me a week.
Cliffhanger.
Give me a week. I promise I'll come up with something more interesting. I doubt it.
We also have the triumph riding, stage erecting, whiskey drinking, chief of security, the warrior of nor'easters. I wonder if he's a warrior of hurricanes. You may have to find out soon. America's sweetheart, Rick Rubin's stunt double. He drinks and breaks things. Ares, god of war.
Now, I don't know about hurricanes, but tornadoes, yes. Because I had gone to clean up after 2 different tornadoes in this area.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We've had the tornado on the Cape recently.
Oh, yeah.
And then we went out in Springfield a few years ago.
Huh.
Oh, you were there? Not for the tornado, but I went for the cleanup. Yeah, for the after party. Yeah, for the after party. Yeah. Well, good for you.
Did you encounter any sharks?
Not that type of tornado.
Oh, okay. Or clams?
I'm building my resume of natural disasters.
Okay, good.
good, yeah.
Good.
Who's got the money on earthquake? That would suck. That'd fuck up the tech issues.
We also have the glorified grip, the chain smoking, hand kissing, baby shaking, lorazepam loving, former comic book reading nerd, official smoke chamber for Castle Wolfenstein and the Lair of Lost Swag, the Pimper Promotions, the Italian rapscallion, the professional bullshitter, cool principal, the proprietor and secretary of the sexy speakeasy, Mr. Runtime, the Duke of Degeneracy, and the Parisian Bruja himself, Michael Ravenshadow.
Do you?
Yeah. You want my phone number?
No.
No.
How about less nicknames? How about that?
It's titles, okay? It's titles.
All right, less titles then. Whatever the hell.
I don't know. Whichever comes first. No. Titles are earned. Nicknames are given.
I've earned Johnny.
Yeah, what titles has he actually earned?
All NCW champion.
That's one, yeah.
All that shit that you keep saying week after week after week, what has he actually earned out of that?
It's a bad connection, Johnny. I'm saying so much right now, you just can't hear him.
Yeah, you guys are cutting out. I think there's something going on with your internet over there, Raven Shadow.
Uh-oh.
Oh, really? You really couldn't hear me?
Well, when I introduce you, you're all garbled at first.
Oh,
Perfect.
that's good. Yeah, well,
Yes.
yeah,
So everyone gets what they want.
that's good. So how we doing now?
Win, fucking win, baby.
Well, I'm responding to you, so I hear you just fine now.
It's like I'm fucking married again.
Well, when you ask a stupid question, you're gonna get a stupid answer.
Well, I don't fucking know. I'm trying really hard over here.
Okay, you know what? Move the monitor closer. We'll improve the internet.
Corny. Wouldn't you think if we moved something closer, we could be heard better?
A microphone, yes, not a monitor.
Isn't
Monitor.
Marion?
don't-
Isn't the microphone in the monitor?
No.
No.
We've had this problem for 5 weeks now, and every week we go, we're going to record through the camera.
No, well, I just found that out today.
We've been doing it all along.
Well, I may move the camera closer.
And I love how you're still talking to the mic.
Yeah.
It's radio magic.
It's radio idiocy.
Whatever
Get the
makes
goddamn microphone.
he likes gripping it and stroking it while he's talking. So
I do, and I like to hold the microphone too.
you like what?
And I like holding the microphone too.
Yeah.
It's like a bizarre form of lip syncing.
What?
When you get the goddamn microphone away from you, you don't need it.
It makes him feel better. First of all.
God.
Those of you who didn't happen to see that because you're listening like you're supposed to,
Yeah.
he took the mic off and was holding it like he was going to serenade MZ.
I will.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
I'll be Cyrano. And you be the Bergerac.
All right. So as mentioned in the intro, we are going to be discussing a film called Gwen. It is been getting some pretty decent buzz. We'll be talking about that, and then also later on, we're going to be talking what constitutes a horror film. And this discussion actually sort of came from a comment on social media. Our buddy Joe over at Three Guys That Horror, I guess they reviewed this same movie this week. So if you want to hear a different point of view, you can check out their show. But he said that he didn't think this was a horror film. So, that's one thing that we'll discuss as we talk about the movie and then after. So if anyone's listening live and you guys want to go ahead and give your thoughts about either the film or that idea of, what constitutes a horror film, you can go ahead and send a voice message or an email, podcast@trickortreatradio.com, and we'll be sure to play it. If you hear this after the fact, if you're listening to the podcast, you're not listening live, and you have your own thoughts, feel free to send them in. That's I think it's a sort of an evergreen topic that we can talk about on future episodes, and I would enjoy hearing from other people about it as well. So let us know. But one thing I want to talk about, Raven Shadow, looks like you got the studio over there, the Lair of Lost Swag, got a little bit of a refresh.
Yeah, no, I've been. It's very exciting. Been doing a lot of special modifications myself. I changed to a softer light, not very powerful.
You hung these?
On what?
The pictures? You hung these?
Yeah.
Oh, crap. Give me a helmet.
Why? No, it's not. It's pretty much going to
No,
stay.
I think it's going to be okay.
I think I'm going to get hit in the head.
No, it's fine. We had measurements, but
I mean, the way I look at it, when I'm looking at it, I could see like the top part and the bottom part kind of bowing out a little bit. Other than that, I think it's going to stay on there.
But that was how I got the poster. That was in the studio, Miami Connection. I got Miami Connection. For those who aren't watching the live feed, there's a very special film in the Trigger Street Radio, legacy.
Yeah,
Legacy. So it's an old studio.
with a very special video that we made, especially for this movie.
That's true.
that I urge absolutely no one to watch.
And it's premium content.
Everyone should check that out.
That's true.
Yeah, Aries was in that too.
Yep.
Yeah.
In fact, I was trying to find that on some of our shared connections, Johnny, and it's not on there anymore.
The video?
Yeah.
You sure about that?
No, it's definitely on.
I was trying to show Marion, and I couldn't find it.
Why, you want her to hate you?
No, that was what happened when I showed her some NCW tapes. Didn't enjoy that, but yeah, didn't enjoy that. Yeah, it doesn't hold up well if you're not myself or Dr. Joey Schron.
It holds up.
But yeah, it does hold up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
It was funny.
Yeah. Miami Connections.
Yeah, here it is right here.
Yeah, what the hell did you search for? I found it right away.
Yeah. It was
We could do it on the interwebs.
well, where the hell else are you going to find
Were
it?
you flipping through NBC? What were you doing?
I was on Channel 5 watching Uma Pemaraju.
Channel 5.
Yeah, I was at the fucking Chronicle.
Guessing it.
Wow.
'Cause it's that unmistakable picture of MZ with the Key West half shirt on at the mailbox.
Yeah.
We're watching it now. I totally forgot it's on the fuck. Is that still up on the interwebs?
Yes, it's on.
On YouTube?
YouTube, dude. Right here.
Oh, well, we had it on a certain shared fucking service that's no longer there.
God damn.
All right, well,
Fucking video.
yeah. I'm saying Miami Connections is pretty dope. And then to the right of that is Clockwork Orange,
Which
put up.
Yeah, which we haven't made a video for yet. What we
All
should.
right, that's,
What we should.
Wait, yeah,
Go ahead.
who's gonna have who's gonna be in the chair with their eyes peeled open? Is that gonna be MZ? As he's forced to watch the Black Christmas remake?
Oh,
Ooh, well, hey, that's a lot to unpack there.
you know what, Wolfie? Fuck you for even suggesting that.
Well, let's take it back, Johnny, because MZ wants to suffer for his art. So
That
that'll
is
be
true.
some,
Yeah, that is true.
Suffering. So now is I know you love Black Christmas. We talked about it last week.
The
and
original
Black Christmas
Yeah, I
is
do.
what the first slasher or the first holiday
The first holiday slasher film.
film.
Yep.
Inspired Friday the 13th,
Halloween.
Halloween. Yes, Halloween inspired Friday the 13th.
Yep.
So that's your milk. That's in your wheelhouse. This movie is a remake? Question mark. Right? Is this a remake of that?
Yes, it's a remake.
Yeah, another remake, which is just what we need.
What was the first?
We just had a,
2006.
we just had a remake 13 years ago.
Really?
Yeah. You didn't know?
I skipped that day.
Skip that day.
Yeah, I quit school because of recess. But so was the remake like the first one, or was it a whole reimagining?
I didn't even bother with it.
Okay.
I think they changed some stuff, but it's similar.
Okay.
They carry over one actress from the original, if I understand correctly, one actress from the original to the remake. That was Andrea Martin,
Okay.
who later became famous in her own right for being on SCTV. She's the comic. She was a comedian in SCTV. Yeah, she worked with John Candy and Rick Moranis, Eugene Levy. Yeah.
So now,
funny lady.
So this one, it seemed that the poster was all like kind of like a sorority girls. They had like their own like little bats and stuff.
Yeah.
Is that different from the movie?
Well,
From the original.
It was a sorority, yeah, in the original.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Who's directing it?
I don't know, but it's being produced by Blumhouse.
Yeah. Let me see. Hold on.
I think it's a woman because I know.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Jason Blum got a lot of shit for saying, "Oh, there's not that many good female directors to work with," and he got a ton of shit from that like a year or two ago. So I think he's trying to make up for that now.
Yeah. Sophia Takal, who I've never heard of before.
The name sounds familiar.
Takal. Takal. I've never heard of her before. Written by Sophia Takal and April Wolf.
Yeah.
So it looks like it looks like it could be a completely female crew as well. Or a good majority of it anyway.
To Call a Mockingbird.
Jesus.
It's a bad sound. That'd be funnier if Skype worked. Maybe not.
I heard you.
No. It'd be funnier if the joke worked.
Yeah, it would be funnier if it was actually funny.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a bad connection.
Yeah.
Move the camera.
You can use that as an excuse for every joke you make.
I'm going to.
Even Ollie doesn't like it.
Yeah.
He just turned his back on you.
Ollie was totally throwing me shade on his golden pillow. And thank you, Evil Corny. Made the comment that Ollie's on the golden pillow like a pound puppy pin. There it is.
Good dog.
Yeah, just chilling, baby. He likes that. He likes podcasting.
He does. He's been there for every episode so far since you guys moved.
Yeah.
It's very exciting. But yeah, move some things around here. I got some plans once the the sound is fixed. But yeah, I got some new 8x10s for the studio.
Oh, you fucking 8x10.
Of you?
Of me and you guys.
And us.
No one wants to see those.
I don't even want to see them.
Well, they'll be for us. They're in here. Lots of me and you, Johnny. Exciting. I miss you. So
Okay, let me ask a question. Out of all these 8x10s,
Yeah.
are there any without you in them?
Why?
In other words, no.
Why would I do? Yeah, there's one.
Well, if it's for us.
Well, we're in together. It's like the fucking.
Well, you just said there's one of just you and Johnny. Is there one of just me and MZ?
Well, yeah. Speaking of which, this is a new fucking bromance happening with these two. They're getting their own spinoff soon.
We're commuting.
Yeah.
We're saving the environment.
Is that what
Yeah.
you're calling it nowadays?
Commuters.
This is my commuter. So
Take the HOV lane now.
yeah. What movies did you guys watch that Monster Zero turned you on to? I'm fascinated by that.
Microwave Massacres.
Yeah. So now they're fucking movie sharing, Johnny.
We're doing our own little show on the ride here.
Oh boy.
We watch a movie, we talk about it on the ride here.
Yep. And this time it was Microwave Massacre, an absolute classic.
Yes.
Fascinating.
Have you ever seen it, Wolfie?
Never actually.
I strongly suggest you do, and I suggest you do it with T-Dog.
No, don't do it.
Is it better or worse than butt crack?
Better. Better. I
Better
say
than-
that only.
Better than butt crack?
I say that only because if I was to say that it was worse than butt crack, you would completely be turned off by it.
Well, I've never seen butt crack, so I don't know.
But no, you gotta see Microwave Massacre. Aries and I were talking about it, and he was laughing his ass off. It is, tell him, Aries.
It's
What are you like, the Road Warriors over here?
brilliant.
Tell him, Aries.
Oh no, I mean it's an atrocious movie with bad acting, but it's absolutely brilliant.
So
If you're into that type of bad movie,
Okay.
oh yeah.
you guys are the Road Warriors, the commuting Road Warriors.
Oh, they are. Well, title for them. Whoa! Oh, shit.
Whoa, Jesus!
Aries like a hairy black
You knocked
wolf.
down the
voice
ball.
snapping over. Yeah, the new age commuters right here.
New Age commuting.
Oh, you didn't know?
Nah, we're the new Road Warriors.
Yeah.
Tell them, Mark.
Yeah, the ride sharers.
The right sharers.
The ride sharer, Monster Zero. The backseat Billy Aries.
What?
Wow. Backseat Billy Aries.
Better you than me.
Aries is like, that's a name I haven't heard for some time.
I'm just trying to figure this out. MT's riding shotgun. I'm in the back seat. Who's driving?
Ollie is.
Yeah, I'm driving. He's a
He's
wheelchair.
Ollie the ride sharer.
Yeah.
No, but this movie is just sheer genius in its absolute simplicity and its absolute stupidity. The jokes are so. I can't even describe the jokes to you. They're funny, but they're so overly simplistic that they're even funnier in that concept.
And that's the brilliance.
And that's the brilliance of it.
Yeah, you end up shaking your head a lot at the jokes.
Yeah.
Fair.
But at the same time, you're laughing your ass off.
All I know is the clip you showed me had a woman, very endowed woman, with her chest in a I've never seen a chest glory hole before. And I've seen a lot of weird shit. I've never seen a woman's breasts in a glory hole.
Well,
Wow.
yeah.
So,
yeah.
And where can one find Microwave Massacre Monster Zero?
Well, you can find Microwave Massacre in a plethora of places. You can find it on the Tubi app, for instance.
Oh, there it is.
It is available on
Dynamite dropping.
It is also available on YouTube, and it is also available, soon to be available in my hot little hands tomorrow on Arrow Video, so on Blu-ray from Arrow Video. So I'll be looking forward to that.
Speaking of good movies, I have one I just got in the mail. I'm going to show it to you guys first. You guys see it?
Oh, and you get your little matching T-shirt, too.
I do.
Never heard of it.
So I did get my Indiegogo package, Survival of the Film Freaks. Bill held off a little bit because I was moving, so he wanted to make sure I got settled in my new place. And I'm glad he waited because I actually realized I wasn't getting mail for a couple weeks. So,
Really?
but yeah, so I got my signed by the filmmakers, Survival of the Film Freaks, and I'm also wearing my shirt.
Oh yeah.
I want to show it on the video, not for you guys, for
That's a
the.
beautiful elbow.
Yeah, nice
That's
elbow.
the elbow of a titan right there.
Yeah, these guys have a different mic, different camera, so they're seeing my elbow here. There you guys go.
Look at
Nice,
look at
nice.
You flexing.
So, oh, you want me to flex?
Yeah, dude. Look at you. Oh, my God.
Now, the way he was pulling that shirt up, he was flexing like Hillbilly Jim.
Wow, that's your boy right there. Look at that.
So
Very nice.
pretty excited to represent. Got my shirt, and I know we've mentioned this before, but if people miss the Indiegogo or you just don't have the money to buy a physical copy, I don't even know if they're available anymore. They might be sold out, but it is available to stream video on demand. You can watch it on Amazon. That I know for a fact, and I assume it's available on other places as well. But if you guys haven't checked out the doc Survival of the Film Freaks, it's got a whole host of awesome people. First of all, it's made by Bill by Force from Outside the Cinema, and also Kyle Kukta, our buddies. And so they directed it, and it also features a bunch of awesome people. Not in the least are including myself and Donna Mars, but also has, I'm going to forget people, but it's got Mr. Chris from Outside the Cinema. It's got Jimmy Gonzalez. It's got Steven Scarlatta. It's got Bloody Good Horror Eric. It's got Ted Raimi. I almost said Sam. Ted Raimi. And a whole host of other awesome folks. Andrew Willanen.
Karando
Mitsutake.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's got some great folks in it, and it's a great film. So, Survival of the Film Freaks.
Christian Gore.
Chris Gore, yeah, he's awesome in it. So if you guys haven't checked it out, feel free to. And what else? There was something else I was going to talk about in the early part here. Oh, I haven't finished it yet. I had actually hoped to finish it, but I'm 6 episodes into the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance. I didn't have as much time as I thought I might this weekend, but 6 episodes in, and I'm loving it. Have you guys seen any of it yet?
Not yet. Now, I mean, I haven't seen Dark Crystal in 30-something years, if not longer. Do you have to watch that to...
No, it's a prequel.
Prequel? All right.
I mean, it helps just because you'll recognize some characters,
Okay.
But it's a prequel, so... And there's some the cast is bonkers. Like the voice acting cast is like completely bonkers. It's got Mark Hamill does a voice.
Really?
Simon Pegg.
Damn.
Have any of you guys seen Dark Crystal in the last sooner than Raven Shadow?
Oh yeah, man. No.
Do you guys remember the main Skeksis, Chamberlain?
Oh yeah.
He's voiced by Simon Pegg in the new one.
Nice.
Yeah. So he does a great voice. It's just ridiculous. Like looking down the cast of people. It's, let me see, what's his name? I think Mark Strong does a voice, if I'm not mistaken.
He was Sinestro, right?
Yep.
He was great.
It's got a bunch of people from Game of Thrones. It's got the girl who played Missandei. what is her name? Natalie Emanuel. It's got Anya Taylor-Joy, who was in The Witch. The girl from The Witch. It's got Taron Egerton, who just played in Rocket Man as Elton John. Keegan-Michael Key does a voice.
Nice.
Jason Isaacs. Benedict Wong. Harvey Firestein.
Oh,
Yes.
Toby.
Oh, who does Harvey Firestein do?
call my mother.
The Gourmand, which I think is a Skeksis, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, that's so wonderful.
Wonderful
casting.
Toby Jones.
Nice.
Oh, Toby Jones.
I think Toby Jones.
Eddie Izzard does a voice.
Oh, awesome.
Ralph Ineson, who was the father in The Witch.
Jesus, god damn, dude.
Natalie Dormer, also from Game of Thrones. Lena Headey from Game of Thrones. And Sigourney Weaver.
As Sigourney Weaver.
As Sigourney Weaver.
That's Sigourney Weaver. All these dark crystals. No, they all fucking Muppets. Are they all? It was all Muppets, right?
Yeah.
They're not Muppets. A Muppet is a very specific thing.
Oh, like Q-tip and cotton swab, right? All right, fine.
They're puppets.
Puppets.
Yeah, it's all puppets. And it's not your favorite movie, MZ, Puppetry of the Penis.
God damn.
It's their stage play.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it's real good. The episodes are just under an hour, and there's 10 in total. So I'm a little bit over halfway done right now. But I mean, if you can appreciate the creativity that goes into it is just on another level. Like, there's some really cool stuff. There's a lot of nice little throwbacks to the movie. And some characters that are in it from the movie, not all of them, but some. And it's just really well done. Really, voice acting's great. The puppetry is amazing. Set design, everything. It's phenomenal. So I recommend people check it out.
Now, what about CGI? Has that been curbed a bit, or are they going full bore on that?
Well, I mean, all the characters, as far as I know, are all puppets, so it's all practical. But I think there's some vistas and things that may be CGI'd. There's a couple things that look like they might have been, like when they pull out and show like a long shot of like a vehicle moving along. Like, I'm pretty sure that was done as like a CGI thing,
All right.
But for the most part, from what I can tell, to my naked eye, it looks like it's I would say mostly in front of the camera. So mostly practical. So
very good.
Yep. So pretty cool stuff. So if you guys, if you dug the movie, like, what are you waiting for?
Harvey Firestein's in it. Yes. No, that's cool. I'm trying to wrap up some stuff on my list right now. And I feel there's a lot.
You're still on like season 1 of Daredevil.
No, I'm all caught up on Daredevil. That's great, and the ending is fucking rad. But no, I'm banging through the Punisher, season 1. I'm on like episode 8 right now, and I am digging that. But I want to hurry up because I know, a lot's been happening in the nerd world since we've had shitty fucking, technical errors. But with it's November that Disney's doing their thing, right? Their streaming service.
Disney Plus, yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know when. I'm assuming that Netflix will get rid of their shows out of spite, or whatever their deal is, probably around November.
Well, so that's why, I mean, I think you can probably read between the lines, but I'm pretty sure that's why all the Marvel shows got canceled. I don't think it was because of ratings. I think it was just because of that.
Oh, no. Which is still so fucking weird because it's licensed. Like, I don't know. It gets real fucking weird and businesslike. Am I the only one? Like, I mean, nice. They was all sided by Marvel with Netflix. They partnered. And they were supposed to take place in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And there were nods to the event in New York. and they've mentioned subtle references to Thor and Hulk and super soldiers over the run of their shows. So it's like I don't quite know why there's the hate between the tribes.
Well, there's not hate. Disney just realized they could make a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
So why team up when they can do their own thing?
Yeah, and Disney now owns. They have, I think, 51% of Hulu. So they basically own Hulu now. So I think what they're doing is they're doing a package deal where you can get like Disney Plus, Hulu Plus, and ESPN Plus all in one package deal for the same price of Netflix, which I think is what, $12.99 now, I think, or $14.99, I forget. But
I think it's $13.99.
okay,
For you to get all three.
yeah, whatever the cost of Netflix is, that's the cost of all three of those for the Disney, Hulu, and ESPN. So it's actually a pretty good deal. And yeah, I mean, there's gonna be some great stuff. The Mandalorian, I can't wait for. The trailer looks fucking amazing.
And it looks really cool. I mean, I did watch it. I was talking with Aries on Saturday about that, and I am intrigued.
Am I the only one who doesn't have a hard-on for the show right now?
No, not hard, but I'm intrigued. I
just everyone seems to be like super excited about it. And I'm just kind of like, if you just took away that armor, it just seems like eh.
Well, I'm less interested in the armor. Like, I mean, Boba Fett.
Boba Fett.
Yeah, it's cool looking, but I like that world. I like the tech and shit without fucking shitty fucking mullets and dumbness that Star Wars is becoming.
What mullet?
Well, the fucking the Padawan pony nub.
Oh, God, you
It's dumb. How do you make Jedi's fucking stupid? Oh, give them fucking bad mullet ponytails.
Who cares?
That's stupid.
It's a recruit thing.
What's a dumb thing? It's a dumb thing. Jedi should all wear black and be gangster like Luke and Jedi.
That's a Sith, man.
No. That's stupid.
Yes.
Then it gets dumb when it's like, oh, he's the gray Jedi. Oh, fuck that.
No,
Fuck
there's
that.
no fuck gray Jedis.
Just be fucking badass space samurais, and let's not get fucking everything twisted. But no, I think what Aries is trying to say.
Don't even, motherfucker, I will beat you.
No.
Did you say eat him or beat him?
Ooh. Hey, take your fucking pick. I don't care.
I'm the last guy here. For all the things you've been doing to better yourself, the last thing you want is me in your mouth.
Wow.
Well, hey, you can't argue with that.
Month zero, maybe. You don't give a fuck. I'm slightly healthier than our Bradish.
That's not saying
Oh,
much.
Yeah.
All closed now.
Yeah, I know. They'll reopen next year.
Next year.
Yeah, that's okay.
Little tear.
Are you sure? Are you sure
a
it's
little
okay?
bit. A little bit of a tear. I'll live.
So yeah, I mean there is a lot of stuff going on, and you know, one thing I don't know if this is going to happen. I hesitate to even mention it just in case it doesn't. But there has been some talk about among some folks about doing a Star Wars podcast. That's all I'll say. An offshoot, if you will.
People we know?
Yeah, you're talking to them.
Oh, Christ's sake! Really?
Some talk. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but people who've been on the previous Star Wars shows. So, because we're all excited about the Mandalorian, and also with the Rise of Skywalker coming out in December, so it's an exciting time to be a Star Wars fan, I think.
I'm just so burnt out from Star Wars.
You don't watch any Star Wars.
Yeah, but you don't care about it.
I've seen them all. Whoa! I've seen them, and I've seen them many times.
Are you sure?
I'm almost positive.
Almost.
I'm almost positive.
I'm almost positive what I watch.
No. The only Star Wars film that I haven't watched is Solo. That's the only one I haven't seen yet.
You should watch it. Yeah, you should watch it.
I mean, I think they're definitely putting some money in Mandalorian. I mean, it's one of those things where Star Wars, the coolest looking characters in Star Wars are the fucking lamest in execution.
You made a time machine out of a Mandalorian?
That was a good one, MZ.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to buy the streaming service because of that. I want some stuff to drop first. I mean, I am excited about the Marvel shows that they're doing, like the Falcon, Winter Soldier, WandaVision.
What if
is going to be animated, I believe.
Yeah.
What else? Hawkeye, WandaVision, and then down the line, Moon Knight, She-Hulk, and there was somebody else I thought too. But it's really cool content. I want them to drop first. But there's so much other media I got to finish before I even get to that. So like that's why I want to jump on.
So tell them to put it on hold.
Just slow it down, Disney. Okay. We're going through.
now I am excited at the possibility of the Obi-Wan show.
That's a thing. I think now. I think it's official.
Yeah.
Is it official?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
The Obi-Wan show?
Oh, Ewan McGregor doing a.
It's a variety show. The Obi-Wan show. Welcome.
Watch Yoda. You watch Yoda juggle lightsabers. You know.
It'll be like Yoda, like that fucking squirrel in the old like 70s news ones. Like Yoda, like surfing on like a fucking
on the surfboard.
Yeah, the surfboard. Yeah. Staple his fucking muppet feet to it. Ka-choo, ka-choo.
No, it's supposed to take place in between the Revenge of the Sith and New Hope.
It's too much, man.
It isn't too much.
It is
that
too
I'm
much.
excited about.
So what's he gonna fucking do?
It's
Is
too
he gonna
much.
He's gonna watch like Luke at fucking Aunt Beru's place and fucking
Look,
binoculars?
look.
Some weird pervy old dude like
Star Wars.
There he is.
Star Wars
Look at
used
Luke
to be. Wait.
He's looking. He's got some hair down there.
Okay, you know what?
Star Wars used to be something special.
Thank you, Montezero.
It's 1977, 1980, 1983. 3 years passed between each one. Now you can't get past 2 years without having a barrage of Star Wars related material, movie, TV show, whatever you want to call them.
Okay,
Hitting you in the face.
Now let's not forget that.
And they did the same thing with episode 1 through 3 as well.
But they put stuff out and it bombed, and they're trying to get you to forget about it.
Wait. But what out the bomb?
The holiday special.
Yeah, but that was 1977. That's the only bomb
Yeah,
they had.
that was the only bomb they had, and that was just on
because they
sheer-
realized maybe we should. We're not prepared to do this.
That
was just done for pure capitalism. They just wanted to make money. It was just something to make money,
And it failed.
But it did introduce Boba Fett. Now I don't know what how much that adds to the mystique of Star Wars, but to the mythos of Star Wars, that might be the only thing that it adds.
Well, actually, it's the only time he ever fucking did anything. He didn't do a goddamn thing in this movie.
Yes, he did.
The cool of the character, the lame of their execution. Now, I once again, we've talked about this. I was born in '76, dude. I was there with the action figures at Sears. They fucking knew my mom's name. I had them all because she loved me. And I saw the movies all the time. But as much as I love Star Wars, I think it's almost crippling under its own mythology. So this show takes place between the second week and the first day of this other movie.
Right.
Okay, well, no.
Just-
Hold on a second. You can't bash this Obi-Wan show because he knows that Mos Eisley's is the hive of the scum and villainy.
Right.
How does he know that?
Well, and once again,
This show is going to explore that.
Well, I think once again, we've been to some fucking bars areas. We could walk in like,
And I got some fucking stories.
But you fought a bar before. And no, I think Ewan McGregor was the only goddamn thing interesting in those fucking prequel movies. The best part
What
of the
about
first
Sam
one.
Jacks?
Sam
Jackson he was good.
Yeah.
Darth Maul.
No, what? He didn't do shit.
Maul
He didn't do shit.
What did he do?
He killed a Jedi.
The worst Jedi ever, Qui-Gon Jinn.
How is he the worst Jedi ever?
Because he was like, hey, I want to train this cracker boy. He's the fucking chosen one.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, no, asshole. He's not the chosen one. He's going to fuck shit up.
Well,
I'm going to train him. No, he's the fucking death sentence to all of us.
By that,
I'll train him anyway.
Well, by that, the evil thought that whatever that, he's at fault for that. You can blame Obi-Wan because he was the one who actually trained him.
Because he's trying to help out his fucking boy, trying to do the right thing.
No. By your logic, Obi-Wan is at fault.
It's Qui-Gon Jinn.
No, Obi-Wan is the one who trained him. Obi-Wan is at fault.
He did what he was helping out his boy. I would train someone for you.
Then it would be your fault.
Well,
if he trained evil, it would be your fault.
No, it was already there. The evil was already there. And
Qui-Gon could have contained that.
No, the kid's evil. Ben should have came in, but problem solved.
Qui-Gon could have contained that.
Qui-Gon sucks.
No, he isn't. He trained Obi-Wan.
I don't know if he did because that's why. No, he did. You know why he sucks so bad? It's like fucking because Ben didn't even fucking talk about him anymore. He's like, yeah, you want to trade me? Yeah, not this motherfucker. He didn't tell Luke.
Oh, so now you're gonna twist it around to suit you?
No, it's suit me. 1977. He goes whatever the fuck, 80, whatever the fuck. He tells Luke that Yoda was the one that trained him because he wants to leave out, block, Qui-Gon from his fucking Jedi Facebook.
That's just bullshit storytelling. That's what all that is.
Well, retcon stuff. But I love Star Wars. But there's some dumb shit in Star Wars. I've been saying this since the flip phone days.
It's dumb shit in every goddamn movie.
It's the flip phone days.
Yeah. So yesterday.
So yeah. So last week.
Since I was yelling from the basement when people were up here, but no. But once again, I don't know. I am. Ewan McGregor's awesome. I definitely want him to have a role, and I'm very interested in him. But there's some dumb shit in fucking Star Wars that they add to it, and they make it dumb.
With both of the trilogies you talk about, or just the
as a mythology, I think, and I love it. I do, but I think it's crippling under its own weight of trying to shoehorn.
Yes, they tried to create, because then you got Clone Wars, and Clone Wars came in, and you got to try to shoehorn Clone Wars somewhere into the original trilogy somewhere,
right?
And everything that they come out with now has to be somehow able to fit into this timeline that has been created between Lucas, by Disney, or by anybody else who might have a hand in the pie on this, into this whole thing, and it just becomes oversaturated to the point where you got to know everything that happened from the beginning of A New Hope all the way to the Rise of Skywalker, and not A New Hope, but Phantom Menace. Yeah, Phantom Menace all the way to Rise of Skywalker, and you got to know every single minute of what is going on in it from point A, from the beginning to the very end, and that can be exhausting, and maybe not for the uber dorky fucking Star Wars geek out there who lives, eats, breathes,
AKA
drinks.
Everybody that goes to the movies to see it.
Not everybody that goes to see these movies are the uber dorky fucking
Listen to
Star
you.
Wars
Listen
geeks.
to the Transformers guy.
Hey,
well, Grimlock had a lightsaber that we
Grimcock.
But no, and I do love Star Wars.
It's almost like a police thing where we act as the police and we want to know every single minute of every single movie that happens from Phantom Menace to Rise of Skywalker, and everything in between must be documented, and it's oversaturation, and the specialty and the specialness of it is gone.
And you have some point there. And once again, I am excited. I think, and a lot of people who will hate on Disney. I think you can't deny Disney puts money in things and the talent. I mean, I'm excited for Mandalorian. I hope it's something brand new. It's taken place between 5 years between after Jedi and whatever years before Force Awakens. So I like that world. I love the tech. The voiceover line where it's like, bounty hunting is a complicated business. I'm kind of excited for that. And how the fuck is Lando?
Yeah, maybe we should hold off.
All right. But no, I know Corny's upset. I don't mean to make you upset, Corny. But
Yeah, he wanted me to cut your mics. He says, "Cut their mics, Wolfie. I can't take any negative Star Wars talk."
But no, but like once again, I mean, like, you're hiding out on fucking Tatooine. If Uncle Owen, all right, how is Ben hiding out from the evil Galactic Empire when fucking everyone knows that crazy old Ben's the Hermit? He didn't even fucking change his name. How do you like Bob Kenobi?
Well, you know what? We're gonna find out because the Obi-Wan series takes place in between the first and second trilogies. It's like smack dab in the middle.
Yeah, man. Well, fucking Chewbacca's gonna hang out with him. Like,
I'm more excited about that.
And I love
that to explore that world. You know, you're gonna see more of that bar. I'm excited for that.
More space deserts.
I'll watch. I'll give Rise of Skywalker. I'll give that a watch. But you know what? Everything.
But I'm not going on opening night. I don't want to sit with all the geeks and the nerds.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right.
What if there was a Transformers trailer at the beginning of it?
I still wouldn't go. I'll just go online and watch it. No, I'll watch. I'll stick with the original trilogies, the 3 trilogies. And that's it, man. Fuck everything else. But seriously, it's too much.
It's a lot.
I don't care if it's good or not. It's just too much.
I will say it's not too much all at once.
Yes.
They shouldn't have gone every year.
Which is why.
And their biggest downfall was releasing Solo in the spring rather than trying to wait for the Christmas release like they had been doing. Giving a solid year.
And that's why I appreciate the original trilogy the most, because they give 3-year intervals between each film. Then in 1999 they came out with Phantom Menace. 2002 came out with the Clones, Attack of the Clones. And then what was it? 2004 I think did Revenge of the Sith. Was it 2004?
I think it was 5.
I think it was 4. Which 2 years? Okay, you know what? I'm fine. I could deal with that. Yeah. But now we're getting what was the first movie in the now trilogy? Force Awakens.
It's every other year. That's what they did for this trilogy. They were putting another movie in between.
Yeah,
they had Rogue One, Solo.
Yeah, that is.
And then ridiculous. They had a canceled Boba Fett movie.
Yeah, that is ridiculous. That is just.
But you know what? In this day and age, they need to do that, because if you wait 3 years, people forget.
Because people can't handle it. They want their shit now.
Yes.
It's instant gratification. I've been screaming about this for years. And people want their shit now. I want my shit now. Give it to me now.
Is that what you say when you have to go to the bathroom?
You basically you can't get your movies in the mail fast enough.
I have been patiently waiting.
No, bullshit.
Bullshit, nothing. I've had these on back order for a month, and
not just these ones that are coming tomorrow. Just in general, you're always bitching. I gotta wait 3 days for my fucking movies.
There's a breakup, John. You've been waiting for it.
No, I have never done that.
There's a heel turn on the Road Warriors.
I have never done that. I'm excited to get my whatever I order in. I'm excited to get it, but I'm not anxiously pounding on the table saying, "Where's my shit?" You know. But everybody's got a bitch. Everybody, I want my Star Wars movie now. I don't care who's in it. I want my Star Wars movie now. There's been a Star Wars movie released every year now for the past 5 years straight, and it's fucking ridiculous.
You know what? There's been 2 or 3 Marvel movies released every year.
And don't even get me started on Marvel. Don't even get me started on fucking comic book movies. Enough of that shit. I have had it up to here with that nonsense.
All right, slow it down.
Who the fuck cares?
You know, Transformers in the comic.
Yeah, who the fuck cares? Who the fuck cares? Says like, the most popular movies being released. A lot of people care. You ask, who cares?
Who cares?
What the hell was that? I don't know.
But it's too much. Everybody wants to see some guy jumping around in spandex pants saving the world. Big fucking deal.
They want to see you doing that.
Yeah.
Fuck that. I ain't doing that.
The white blade.
They don't, saving the world doesn't have a very good dental plan, I hear. So fuck that.
What would be MZ's superhero name?
I don't know.
Couch potato.
The cake potato.
The great potato.
The cake potato.
The cake potato.
The Cape Potato?
The cake potato.
Hello, Commissioner. It's a cake potato.
The cake potato. That's funny. I've had it up to here with the way movies are nowadays. They just make me sick. And because they pump all this money, and they pump millions upon millions upon millions of dollars just in advertising, and it's like, who cares? It's look like I see the Marvel poster.
Yeah.
I see Flash. I see Captain America.
Wow, where do you see Flash in there?
Or, I don't know who's that. Who's that guy in the lower left?
That's Cyclops.
Okay, who cares?
That's close.
Cyclops. I see the Thing. I see who's that? She-Hulk there. I see Iron Man. I see Hulk. I see Spidey. I see who's that? Torch. Is that Torch?
Okay. Good.
Okay. Yeah, I see Torch. And that was just a guess. I have no idea who any of these people are.
You said half the fucking roster.
No. I'm talking about Torch. I had no idea that was even his name.
The Human Torch.
Is that Silver Surfer above She-Hulk there?
Colossus from the X-Men.
All right, who fucking cares? And all it is a bunch of people in spandex pants running around saving the world. And it's like,
Hey, that poster is the fucking cover of Secret Wars by Mike Zeck, done by Alex Ross. And that's an amalgamation of the Earth's greatest heroes, okay, against Earth's greatest villains, fighting intergalactic planetary game, and they're away for many years, but time doesn't move the same way.
And next season, Iron.
The armor, okay.
Great, wonderful.
And flashback, that's not even Tony Stark, that's Jim Rhodes when he wore the Iron Man armor. What do you think of that?
No, I don't think much of anything about it.
Yeah.
So Evil Corny says, Raven Shadow, ask Ollie to do me a solid and attack MZ.
All sick balls. Flying all the attack.
But Corny, do you think, now answer me this, Corny, do you think it's oversaturation?
No,
He doesn't. Of course not.
I'm going to speak, Corny, can I speak for you? He doesn't.
Yeah, you can.
No, he
Corny
can't
wants
speak
me
for
to
Corny.
speak for him.
Cut their mics, Wolfie. I can't take any negative Star Wars talk. Now the Star Wars, it's just that is just.
Is this backpedaling? Go ahead.
No. That's just my
you
observation that it's oversaturation. That's my observation. It is oversaturation. What used to be 3-year intervals or 2-year intervals are now 1-year intervals, and it's just too much. It's too much for you, old man. But
Well, I
not too
think
much
I-
for the masses.
Who's got more gray hair around here?
Shit.
You know what? Don't answer that because I'm going to need
I'm not who they're dictating to. I am an old man.
It's not Raven Shadow because he plucks his.
Yeah, he dyes his hair.
I don't fucking dye my hair.
he's in the bathroom like an hour every day plucking them. He doesn't dye it.
Ow.
All right, 55 minutes.
Plucking.
Look, that's just my observation. I just think it's too much Star Wars. The specialness is gone. The anticipation, the excitement. It was like when Star Wars came out, even the bad ones, 1 through 3.
Well, we
even
didn't know they were
ones,
bad.
it was like an event. It was a big event.
We didn't know they were bad before they came out.
Oh, no,
when
I
Phantom
understand
Menace
that.
dropped, I forget the movie, but whatever movie that
I
trailer was
understand
in front of, that like made huge money in the box office because people paid to see that movie just to see that trailer. They walked out. Johnny, you would probably remember what movie that is. You remember that movie?
What movie? Sorry.
What movie that the Phantom Menace trailer played in front of it first?
Man, I mean, I worked at the theater at the time, and I actually was a projectionist, so I put them on there. But it might have been The Matrix or something. I don't know.
No, it was something that like it made money and it shouldn't have because of that trailer.
Yeah,
But,
I don't remember.
I remember going to see Beavis and Bud the movie because the Howard Stern Private Parts trailer was before that.
Did you just stay for the movie though?
Weren't you there?
No.
Well, I saw Howard Stern in the theater. I didn't see
Oh,
Beavis and Bud.
Slagoth says Meet Joe Black.
Oh, there you go.
And Slagoth's hanging out, by the way.
Yeah, it's like Babaleo. And listen, I think movies. I mean, movies are made differently now. You don't necessarily have to wait 4 or 5 years to get shit done. There's more of a plan with things. So I think, and that's designed when you have. I'm only guessing, but I would think when now that you have these ensemble casts and these giant pictures, you would have more of a timetable. Well, we need, actors X, Y, and Z to be on these dates because they're doing other stuff. So you want to kind of bump them up and wrap it up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's a different movie making.
world. I can understand that. I just don't like it.
But it's also, I mean, people love just to talk about the movies,
Right.
like to do what we're doing, and to sit and talk about the same 3 movies. There's only so much you can talk about. I mean, me and Raven Shadow talked about those movies for years.
Right.
We stopped talking because we were just like, you remember that? Yeah, okay, let's stop
It's
talking.
Star Wars glass.
Yeah, it's on his glass. But there's only so much you can talk about the same 3 movies before you need something more. And good or bad, that's more to talk about.
Yeah,
So
but
we talked about the shit prequels, and you know what?
But is it needed?
Shit movies you can only talk about for far less than good movies.
Is it needed though?
Yes.
Is it needed just to fill in the mythos of the spaces in the mythos that the original trilogy have not touched?
To some degree, yes.
Well, I think, and that's where once again, I do love Star Wars, making it all fit. Anakin building 3PO was fucking dumb. Fucking dumb.
I think what it comes down to is, and this is probably what MZ's kind of getting at, is it all comes down to money. Like, if they couldn't make money, they wouldn't do them. Like, but there is some creative, so it all comes down to that. But there is some creative, some creativity to it, because like Star Wars is kind of like the pinnacle as like if any of us had a chance to work on a Star Wars film, like that would be fucking awesome, right? Maybe not for MZ as much, but like that's kind of the pinnacle of being a creator, is working on something that you loved as a kid, right?
If fucking Abrams called me up and said, "Yo, Raven Shadow, fucking Star Wars
Hey,
movie."
Raven Shadow, this is JJ. I'd love for you to work on Star Wars.
Raven Shadow, it's your boy Abrams.
It's your boy.
It's your boy Double J.
We need you to voice Jar Jar Binks' dad.
I want you to be, fucking Jimmy J. Blinks, his son. What do you think about that?
Jimmy J. Blinks.
Yeah, I'd like me to be there on Tuesday, dog. I'll be fucking doing that.
Jimmy J.J. Blinks.
Yeah, Jimmy J. Blinks. I would do that because I'm skinny.
Or Dino Bite.
Yeah,
That was good.
fucking, if I was fucking gonna be guinea hay, some fucking weird I don't know, fucking Italian gypsy guy on fucking Tatooine.
Say it again, MZ.
Or Dino Bite.
Andy!
Tango and Jimmy, don't dynamite.
Yeah, somehow that's better. Somehow that's better.
Now see, if Jimmy J.J. Walker played Jar Jar Binks, that would have been phenomenal.
It'd be great. That's the great Jimmy J. Walker.
I doubt it.
It'd be fantastic. But no, it ain't gonna all fit. But no, it's cool, but you guys don't gotta connect everything. Fucking Luke fucking left the fucking planet to fuck his sister. That's it.
Yeah, and they never ever
Come
seem to
on,
address it.
come on. He
They-
didn't.
and
he
they
didn't
Rack
know.
a fanboy.
And it's never
That girl-
addressed.
Yeah, he wanted. What do you mean it's never addressed?
Oh no, talks about it afterwards. If you make out with your sister twice, you should not talk about
Wait, once.
No. For luck.
That was a kiss. That was
a kiss. Yeah.
And then the
A nice deep
scruffy look.
and
A nice
he
deep,
didn't make out with her. She kissed him.
yeah, that was a nice deep-throated tongue kiss.
Yeah, there was
There was no tongue involved.
there was clearly some movement when he was in the fucking hospital bed.
Oh yeah.
There was a boom,
Jesus.
and it wasn't.
Yeah.
And it wasn't as loud as lightsaber. Meanwhile, Vader, Dark Nubian Emperor of fucking evil, could sense that Cracker Fanboy, the Force is strong with that one in the ship that was however many fucking yards
Yeah.
away or meters. I'm not sure how space is fucking mapped.
Parsecs.
Thank you. That's actually a unit of speed, not time,
Well, fuck you
I
then.
believe.
That's it. That's an I have kissed the girl.
A couple days ago. But he couldn't tell, as close as I am to Ares, that Leia is his sister, daughter.
Oh yeah, I know, right?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, Corey's fucking out of his mind right now.
You think Vader would have punished her for like kissing her girl, kissing her
All
brother?
right, I'm cutting it off right there.
Thank you.
we don't need to get into that. All right. You know,
No, I'm excited for the Mandalorian. What I'm trying to-
all right. There's a long way to get there, but thank you. So,
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we're running the risk of getting some weird fan fiction going on.
yeah,
Yeah.
some slash,
Let's
some
yeah,
slash
let's
fiction.
let's save this for the other
Ooh, there's
podcast.
another Skywalker. That's the fucking worst bloodline in the fucking galaxy. Just end that fucking bloodline.
What?
Skywalker. They're not as good. All right, we'll end it, but it's a bad fucking bloodline.
Evil Corny says, thanks, Wolfie.
You know what I can never understand, and you know what I can never understand, and it's been in my craw for the longest amount of time, and I have never brought it up until now, and maybe someone can answer it for me.
Oh boy.
No. This is not a terrible thing. What is it about Uncle Owen, and Luke, right? What is it about them that have such earthbound normal names, while everyone else has a name that probably wouldn't be given to anyone unless they give birth to a kid and is an uber Star Wars geek? I'm sure there are kids and adults out here now that have been named Leia, have been named Han, have been named
Well, my
know,
great grandfather, Chewbacca, we immigrated.
We emigrated from Kashyyyk.
Kashyyyk, yes.
you know, I'm sure there's kids out there named Bosk and shit like that. You know,
I wish I was named Bosk. IG-88, come and do the dishes.
Admiral Akbar,
yeah.
take your medicine.
You know, and that's always stuck in my head. Like, there's no one named Baru as far as I know.
Yeah,
You know?
it's like a galaxy far, far away. Like they don't know any different. They don't know what a normal name is.
So are we to say that in the actual mythos of Star Wars, that the Earth, primarily English speaking, have no. Listen,
America.
have English speaking folk
Okay.
have adopted the names Luke and Owen from a planet far, far away?
No, it's just coincidence that they happen to have similar names.
Yeah,
In their universe, Luke is the most bizarre name in the world.
Yeah, because he's never called Lucas.
That's George's name.
All right, enough.
That's too bad.
Enough. Trying to
You know,
cut this
Johnny-
off. Jesus.
Turn on mics off. I agree with Corny.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. Well, that's good. That's it. We're moving on. So,
I do. There actually is an Asian Vietnamese woman at my work that's named Han, and that's fucking awesome.
I'm fine with that.
She sits next to Java.
so last is her last name Dynasty?
That'd be awesome. No, she got married to a very Polish name. It's not
Or, I don't know anybody named Silicious Crumb or anything like that.
So let's just yeah. All right, enough. So if you guys want to help support the show, you can do so a few ways. First and foremost, the most important is Patreon. Patreon.com/ You guys shut up. Patreon.com/ Trick or Treat Radio. Head on over there, and for as little as $2, you can help support the show. If you go higher into some of the other tiers, you get some extra added bonuses as well. So take a look at that. One other thing I wanted to mention, this is actually I'll hold off in a sec. I remember one other thing I was going to mention earlier, but I'll hold off for a few minutes. But if you guys want to, so head over to patreon.com/ Trick or Treat Radio. Also, if you want to, you can go to trickortreatradio.com, scroll down, click on the Amazon link, and then it'll bring you right to Amazon. Put in our affiliate link. Everything you purchase in that session gets attributed to us. It doesn't cost them any extra, Michael Raven Shadow.
But it's another way to help keep the lights on.
That's right. And another way you can keep the lights on is go to trickortreatradio.com, and then you can just click on the store, and there we got some digital content. We have the greatest hits of Trick or Treat Radio, volumes 1 through 3, and maybe I'll try to put together a fourth one this year. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what time looks like.
Because you don't have enough going on.
Yeah, exactly. I'm still fucking buried in boxes. So, all right. So that's the ways you can help support us. We'd appreciate it if you guys dig the show, dig what we do. The thing I was going to mention actually I meant to mention earlier, but I totally forgot, is Rock and Shock is coming up.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just over a month away now. So Rock and Shock is coming up on October 10th, 11th, and 11th, 12th, and 13th. And it'll be at the DCU Center in Worcester, Massachusetts. We will be there. We have a booth. We'll be there. And there is some talk about doing some extra stuff during the weekend as well. So once we get everything verified, we'll let you guys know. But looking forward to being there and obviously hanging out with you guys and hanging out with anyone else who's going to show up. I think we have someone coming from another country. I think Tim Chuma's coming from Australia.
I am fucking fascinated because I got to fucking party with that dude.
Yeah.
Fascinated?
I am fascinated. I am. It's going to be fucking outrageous.
He's not that much different than us. He's just Australian.
That's fucking weird, Aries, right? That's fucking
It's
weird.
not that weird.
It's fucking weird.
Well, I think it's weird in the fact that we got that somebody from all the way on the other side of the world is coming over here just to meet us. It's not like it's somebody
us. I don't know. It's us.
I mean, I don't think he has. I mean, it's not like he's coming from Canada or anything like that.
You're scaring my dog.
You have a tauntaun in there?
Yeah. I thought you smelled bad on the outside. I fucking love tauntauns.
So looking forward to Rock and Shock. It's coming up on the 11th, 12th, and 13th. And if you guys are on the fence, the big guest this year is Bruce Campbell.
Yeah.
So you can't deny the chin, right?
No.
Let me see who else is going to be. I don't even know if they've announced anyone else since. I think they have, but I just don't remember.
Oh my God.
Eric Dare from Twin Peaks and Starship Troopers and Critters 4. Ed Neal from Texas Chainsaw. Nice.
The Hitchhiker.
Yeah, and the Butcher Boys, who's also in that. John Dugan, who Grandpa. That's right. Yep. Ken Forey, which is fucking awesome. Love Ken Forey. Dan Yeager from Texas Chainsaw 3D. Bill Johnson from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Joe Netter and Sarah French. Once again, they're always there.
Yep.
Felissa Rose is going to be there.
Hey now.
Sherilyn Fenn, sir.
Yes.
Catherine Cammey from Sleepaway Camp.
Yes. Yeah.
Kenny Johnson from Bates Motel, Sons of Anarchy. Dexter.
Oh, yeah. Shield,
yeah.
Yeah, the Shield, yeah.
Kane.
Johnny, Aries is giving Ollie the finger.
I don't believe it.
Actually, he was.
What are you talking about?
Wow, Aries. Adrian King from Friday the 13th, Part 1 and 2.
Nice.
Sherilyn Fenn, as you guys mentioned.
Ew.
And the ladies of Evil Dead, Betsy Baker, Ellen Sandweiss,
Yes.
and Teresa Tilly. Cheryl Lee, who was obviously Laura Palmer from Twin Peaks, yeah.
Yep.
Ray Wise.
Yes. That guy.
RoboCop.
Yeah. And then Bruce Campbell, of course.
Yeah. This is a good list. This is a good list.
This might be the best one they've had yet.
Oh well, Cheryl Lee canceled.
Who did?
Cheryl Lee.
Oh, okay.
Due to filming.
Okay.
And some guy named Derek Rook is going to be there too.
And so will Survival of the Film Freaks. They'll be right next to us, from what I understand.
Yep. Catherine Cammie. About time.
No.
Yes.
So just wanted to run down the list real quick. Well, I'm sure as it gets closer, we'll talk a little bit more about it. But just wanted, if anyone was on the fence, if anyone is within driving distance, or if anyone has some expendable income and has some vacation days, go ahead and look at Rocket Chalk and come join us and hang out. We'd love to hang out with you guys. So,
Dog gets the piddle.
are you flicking them off again, Aries?
No, I'm telling him the dog gets the piddle.
Oh, all right. Well, it's time
He's
for
gonna
break.
do something.
Yeah, time for a break anyway.
Time for a break. So,
Yes.
Raven Shadow, what do you do when you prepare for a movie like Gwen?
God.
Do you
Dog's never going to take a piss now.
do you brush up on some Spider-Man or something like that?
Yeah, I really want to, get some Gwen Stacy, look at some artwork of a blonde girl being thrown off the fucking Empire State Building and having her neck snapped by a
Nip snap.
Aries is fucking weird. Yeah.
You say nip.
I didn't say nip.
How do you snap a nip?
I'll fucking show you sometime.
Yeah, you wish.
I sent a nip once. I don't want to talk about it. Mind your own business.
The dog has to take a piss. Hurry up.
No, he doesn't. You guys the fucking dog whisperer 1 and 2. He's fucking fine. I think he just doesn't like Aries. And Montezera's probably smells like fucking bacon. So he's all scared. And that concerns me. So no, I hang out and I'm like, yeah, let's watch. What is it? A fucking 17th century carpetbagger movie we had to watch? Is that what it was?
Gwen.
Aren't they like carpetbaggers? What are they? You had a great description last week that made me really excited.
I got a great description for you right now.
So yeah, I think what I'm trying to say is that the Mandalorian should be cool. And listen, Corny, don't get all fucking upset because Empire Strikes Back is my favorite movie of all time. Okay, it's a perfect fucking film. All right, so all right, Corny's upset. I gotta call him. I gotta call him offline. Talk him down. But before that, what was it? A fucking another period piece. People, frolicking in the woods with sadness and tragedy. So before that, I had to strap on.
The following message is a paid advertisement for the Cult of Muscle podcast. The Cult of Muscle. You're either in it or you're dead.
It's the dawning of a new age. The halls of Valhalla have been shuttered. The heroes of yore have either retreated to the shadows or taken to capering for the amusement of the small folk. Their past glories a distant memory. The barbells have been torn from their once puma-strong grips. The beards shorn from their square jaws, only to be transplanted onto flannel-clad, puny weaklings with fingers barely powerful enough to strum a ukulele. The time has come, my brothers, to restore order from the chaos. No longer will our heroes be forgotten. No longer will their great deeds be viewed through a foggy lens of irony. Hear now our rallying cry as we scream it from the mountaintops, as we bellow it from iTunes and Libsyn and Facebook. It's time to join the cult, my brothers. So don your cloaks and enter the Cult of Muscle.
I'm Mike Allred. For the gidgiest listening experience, you gotta check out Trick or Treat Radio.
Oh, delicious nerds. Ms. M knows you like to chat it up with other sexy shut-ins about comics, movies, video games, and your favorite TV shows. If that sounds like you, cuddle up to the Trick or Treat Radio Facebook group, or the FIB. That stands for Fan Interaction Board. Just go to Facebook and search for Trick or Treat Radio and have more fun than a Jedi at a lightsaber sale. Not enough? Watch us on YouTube, The Deadites TV, all one word. Last but not least, check out the world's most dangerous talk radio show, Trick or Treat Radio, at trickortreatradio.com.
You're my new best friend.
And we have returned on Trick or Treat Radio.
Hey.
Did Raven
Back
Shadow
already, huh?
Did Raven Shadow take Ollie out?
No. Apparently the dog whining means absolutely nothing.
All right.
Yeah. I guess, the whining just meant that Raven Shadow had to go take a piss.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we're going to talk about Gwen. This film just got released on VOD. I think it was on the 16th of August, so a couple weeks ago now. It is written and directed by William McGregor. And it stars Eleanor Worthington Cox, Richard Harrington, Mark Lewis Jones, Maxine Peake, Kobna Holdbrook Smith, and also Richard Elfin. Not Elfman, Elfin. The synopsis: a mysterious and suspicious run of ill fortune plagues a teenage girl and her mother and sister on their hillside farm in this folk story set in the dark hills of Wales during the Industrial Revolution. So, all right, well, this film has been getting a pretty good amount of buzz. Oh, also, I forgot to mention that it's not rated and it is 84 minutes. It is considered a drama history mystery, which, once again, we'll discuss whether or not maybe this is or isn't a horror film. But, so this film has been getting some pretty good praise. The trailer was out there, and people were sort of sharing it and commenting on it and stuff. So I wanted
Wolfie.
to... Yeah.
Wolfie.
What?
We're still getting music.
Oh. I was fading it out, so...
Jesus. That's a hell of a fade, dude.
No, like I let it run, and then I faded it out. But so it faded out on the podcast, but not for you guys. So,
okay, we're good now. Thank you.
So I wanted to check this out because this actually reminded me a little bit of a film we did earlier in the year, which I'm sure will come up as we talk about it. But it reminded me a little bit of Hagazusa. I know you liked Hagazusa, MZ. Did you see any similarities here?
Some. We'll get into it as we go along.
Yeah. Okay. So, and this is from a first-time feature director. So William McGregor has done a bunch of shorts and he's done some television, but this is his first feature film, which, say what you will. We'll talk about more about the film as we go on, but I think this is an impressive showing for a feature film because it looked good, like everything, like there's a lot of good technical aspects of this. But he did, it looks like he did an episode of His Dark Materials, which looks like it's going to be pretty interesting. And he's also done, a TV series called The Missing, Retribution, several others. And he's also done a bunch of shorts as well. So, but this, as I mentioned, this is his first feature film. So, and let me see if there's anything else to set it up. No, I don't think so. So I think we're free and clear to talk about this. I will say, so this is, I guess this could be considered the definition of an art house folk tale or folk folk film. It takes place in Wales. It's a Welsh film, and it's got some beautiful landscape. It's got some great shots of Wales and everything. And this takes place during the Industrial Revolution, as mentioned in the synopsis. So that does definitely play a role in the storyline. Now obviously we've done a few sort of period pieces this year. Hagazusa, The Wind come to mind immediately, and I think there's definitely some similarities between the films. Was this one reminiscent of other films for you guys, or just give me your initial impressions? You don't have to give me your verdict now, obviously, but give me some impressions here.
Well, especially with Hagazusa, the way this movie is photographed, it's done with a very washed out look. Like the colors are saturated. To give a very old timey feel to it, like around the maybe the mid to late 1800s, somewhere around there probably. And I mean that to me that jumped out at me more than anything was just the way the colors worked in this movie. And I always appreciated that kind of filmmaking too, is when they use a lack of color to desaturating the colors out of a film, to give it that more of a old time feel to it, and that's what they do here, just like the way they did with Hagazusa.
Yeah, and I think it fits too, especially given some of the sort of the context of the film of what's going on, and also of the time period. It seemed like it was right to do that.
Yeah. I would agree. Raven Shadow.
Was someone else going to say something? Yeah, I think I stomped on someone.
No. I mean, it reminded me a little bit of that anthology we watched with all the
Field Guide.
Field Guide
to Evil.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good call on that too.
You know what I mean? I mean, and it was mentioned, this wasn't a long movie. Only 84 minutes. Felt like a lot longer than that at times, I'll be honest. But it was a slow build to kind of where things were going.
Yeah, very slow. Yeah.
And it wasn't a fun world to live in. Like I don't want to live then. That seemed pretty shitty. We, focusing on a single mother and two kids. I mean, I don't know how old Gwen was. Maybe no more than 13, no more than 14 at least, right?
Yeah, that's a good call.
13, 14, and they were in Wales, so they were going off to war. What war were they fighting where all the men were gone?
I don't know.
That was pretty much any war back then.
Yeah.
That was the Korean War.
Yes. And I think, I'm sure, El Goro or Josh could definitely wax poetic about the struggles of that time period. But no, I mean, it kind of didn't know where the air quotes horror was going to come from. And that was kind of part of the journey.
Well, with this, I kind of felt like, I mean, I understood what the horror was about, or what the... Yeah, I'll use that word. Yeah, the word horror. I can understand... I guess in a supernatural sense, it was the cause for what's going on. At the same time, I kind of felt like it took a back seat to what the real problem was with the lead character and her whole family, for that matter. It just felt like it took a back seat. Like, it would like something would happen, but severe enough where that whatever it was responsible for the problems that it created. But at the same time, it was kind of pulled back just enough where added problems created by this, I guess, for lack of a better term, evil. It just started piling on more and more and more, and because of that, the force or the evil, whatever you want to call it, kind of took a back seat, kind of stepped back a little bit, just enough. That's what I got out of it anyway.
See, I kind of get something a little different, so I'm curious what John's going to go with this.
In regard to, well, so this, I think it was pretty clear what was, I mean, to me anyways, but it is open to some interpretation as to what was going on. And I don't want to give too much away, but I mean, the basic setup here is there's, this family, as was mentioned, there's a what seems like a single mother and two kids. My guess is like 13 and 5 or something like that, 6 maybe.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, like early teen with young. The young daughter was no longer in diapers, I don't think. But
like maybe 5, 6, 7, something like that. So,
right.
And then there's this, the husband is away at war. That's what we're told early on, and so there's this sort of and they're tending the farm, waiting for him to return, basically. And it is the Industrial Revolution, and there's a quarry nearby. And as one other thing let me take a step back. One other thing I'll mention is that this film obviously is called Gwen, and it's from Gwen's perspective. The entire movie is basically from her perspective. So
right.
Even when the adults are talking, we kind of are, we don't get that because it's the adults talking, and they're doing it out of earshot of Gwen. So we don't get a lot of what's going on because of that. But I think you can just kind of ascertain based on some of the things that are happening. But we find out pretty early on, and well, actually, you don't find out early on. You get this sort of idea that maybe this is happening, but there's, some rich guy who owns the quarry, and he wants land. He wants more land near it, and he's trying to buy out their land, but they want to keep their farm because it's their only way of, they go to the market and sell their vegetables and stuff like that, and they're trying to make a living and make things work and, wait for the husband to get back from war. That's kind of what they're holding on to here. And there's a very tenuous grip on that sort of hope. And as the movie goes on, that hope sort of basically is it's almost like a rope that's just about to snap. It gets to the point where, things are about to really go wrong. And along the way, we get some seemingly supernatural things. I won't say much more than that, but we get a heart on the front door when they come home from church once.
Yeah.
There's a heart on the front door, and then there's a blight where, their potato crops are fucked up, and then all their sheep die, and then more and more stuff happens, and it's basically get the fuck out of here. Shit's going on. Maybe we should get out of Dodge. And, every step of the way, they these guys are coming by hey, we want to sell. That's kind of the idea. We don't hear it, but that's what we assume is happening, right?
And it's fair. I mean, there was the conversation when they go into town with the landowner and the mother. And you're absolutely right. When the kids go away and the whole grown-ups are talking moment, I actually thought the landowner had a different, what do you want to call it? Different proposal for the mother.
Could be, yeah. I mean, that's one of the things that you fill in the blanks, right? You don't know what it was.
Right, obviously, where he was an older gentleman, so he'd be not only with his wealth and his age keep him from war, but hey, if all the men are gone, you're a dude, Yeah. Do instincts come into play?
Yeah. No. That's what I thought too. That's exactly what I was expecting too.
And I think if depending on where you go with that proposition will depend on what happens to you next.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So then they made a comment. They made some comment about. It was Marion who mentioned it. When you say no to the rich guy, shit's gonna fucking. You get punished. Air quotes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But was there something? Was the evil supernatural, or was what's happening a very human evil, as opposed to magical evil?
Yeah. I was thinking possibly a combination of both.
And it's fair. I mean, the heart on the door is, I don't know where that goes in like symbolism.
Well, that might have some sort of old Welsh mythology. I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, Wolfie usually looks things like that up. I don't know.
I just took it as, I don't know exactly what the symbolism is. I just took it as a warning. Shit's going on here. Like, you should probably think about moving. So, and then.
Oh no! Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, it's just kind of like the first of many dominoes. So like it's almost like sort of a warning, and then they didn't heed that warning. Something else happens. Something worse happens. Something worse happens than that. Something worse. Right. It just keeps getting worse and worse.
Yeah. Well, like I was saying, I think it was like possibly a combination of both, where there are some things that happen that could possibly be done by man, and some other things that could be done that was possibly done by supernatural forces.
Yeah, and
right.
I think it's supposed to be ambiguous for a little while, And then we had the mother, who, once again, you're seeing this from Gwen's point of view, so you don't fully know what is going on. But the mother is doing like what looks like bloodletting, like basically like cutting herself and letting her blood run out. And then like later on, the doctor kind of mentions something about it, and so there is definitely some. I think the one point that T-Dog made, actually, I thought was really interesting, is the poor don't have much, so they have to rely on everything they have at their disposal, and that could be things like rituals to protect them, like when she takes the like the bones or like the skull and crushes it and then kind of spreads them out, and there was a couple other things here and there. So I think it's interesting that I think that they were relying on some protection type things, but maybe it wasn't something that it was grounded in a real world. It wasn't stuff like like she was able to fucking cast a fireball at them or something, so I think it was more real world stuff.
Well, even using the blood for like makeup.
Yeah, which I guess in a sense I could see that. I mean, that's what you're trying to do to your face. Like, I don't know if people actually did that back in the day, but you want to bring the red out and the blush in your face. So, yeah. I mean, I could totally see that. I don't know if that was actually ever done, but
No, that's true, because I have seen that done before, and okay. that is something that has been done. Not only in Welsh. Not only in Welsh culture. Yeah, thanks. Welsh culture, also done in Italian culture as well. Interesting. Yeah, old time. It's done anymore now. Maybe it is.
Yeah.
It has been done in Italian culture as well, and I always, I never expected it to be part of, because I saw it first from Italian point of view. I always expected it to be not so much of a cheap way to put color in your cheeks. I always assumed that pricking your finger, using the blood, wiping it, into your cheeks. I just assumed that was some sort of, for lack of a better term, youth elixir to keep the skin, smooth or youthful looking, rather than using it for something to use as a makeshift way of painting your face with if you don't have any rouge or anything like that. But
that was an Italian thing, and you didn't know Raven Shadow?
Listen, the Italians invented a lot. They invented makeup. They invented aqueducts.
They invented spaghetti sauce.
Society, yeah, gravy, everything. The mafia, allegedly. D. Okay.
Flight.
Yeah. Da Vinci was fucking the Batman and the Joker.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You're welcome.
And at some point, I couldn't. I don't even know if I want to bring this up because it just might. It might be a spoiler. In fact, it could very well be a spoiler. Forget I said anything. This could be a spoiler. But I just feel like there might be some sort of connection between the wealthy and the church.
No. Boy, you're saying this exact. Wait. Slow it down. There's a lot to unpack here. You're saying, Johnny, timestamp this.
Yeah.
Monster was saying there might be a weird connection between money and organized religion. Wait a minute. I gotta fuck.
No, if it was that obvious, somebody would have brought it up by now. I'm just saying that. No, oh God.
No, keep going. I'm
Fuck you guys.
I'm riveted. So is Ollie.
No, I'm taking it as possibly the wealthy business owners who want the land.
That's how they control people.
Paid.
Yeah.
Paid. All right. So then, if you're just gonna say it, I'll just say it then. That the wealthy business owners put some money into the hands of the church, to create this ominous evil to try and drive this family out from their house.
No, it's fair. I mean, it reminded me of, like, basically the wealthy dude was like Jack Palance in fucking Young Guns. He's trying to get, like, he had his own fucking sheep. Fucking. God, that was shameless. But yeah, he had his own little fucking sheep business. They had their own sheep business, and he wanted to, like, get them out of the fucking sheep business. You know?
Yeah, I just think that with those two powers put together, because then just talking to them isn't going to get them out of their farm.
Right.
They're staying no matter what, because they're waiting for Dad to come home. And I just think that the wealthy people are just paying off the church to create a supernatural force that would drive the family out.
Look that one step further to, like, you're holding on to, because even the kids were like, well, when Dad comes back, when Dad comes home.
Yeah.
That's why we're staying, so you can see it from the reason why the mother, and yeah, so I mean, I think that's kind of a big thing of the driver with this, where it's a pretty shitty lifestyle they're living, a pretty shitty world. I mean, one thing if you're a family, but when the husband goes away, you want to hold on to things because you can't sell it, because when he comes back, you want to pick up where you left off. So from the kids' perspective, that's why they're doing these things. And obviously the kids have different jobs. Gwen had to fucking feed the family. And the mom being pissed off, hey, this is burnt. Well, she's fucking 13. Doesn't have a fucking microwave. You can only make what you can make when you're fucking 13.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's fucking rude.
Yeah.
You know?
And just as the movie continues and progresses, just lower the boom on her, and my heart sunk. And it might seem like just another thing, but my heart sunk for this character when she was in the market and she's trying to sell her carrots.
Yeah.
And she thought that she was finally going to be able to sell some until to a boy, and until the boy's father came along and says, "Get the hell out of here."
Yeah.
You know, and it's like she was just this close to actually having a little bit of relief for her family until the guy just drove away. The guy who was about to buy the carrots, you know. And my heart. I don't know why it was that particular scene alone that made me feel so bad for this character, but it did.
This movie is brutal. Like,
oh, it is.
This is one of the it without saying too much. Like it just piles on and piles on, and all I'll say is that scene with the horse fucking destroyed me, man. Like,
oh yeah.
Like that. Go ahead, Ram Shadow.
There's nothing fun about this.
No, not at all. This is like this is like Requiem for a Dream in like the Industrial Revolution era. Like,
yeah.
Without the drugs.
Well, yeah, or Combat Shock. I always put those two films together, Requiem and Combat Shock, as the most depressing films ever made. And this not really reaches that level, but it's up there. Yeah. This is a very depressing movie. There's no joy in this movie at all whatsoever. Even during Gwen's dream sequences, where she's her and her whole family, they're having fun, they're running around the village or whatever, running around in rocks and things like that, and they're having a good time. Even that, because it's a dream sequence, there's something wrong, and it's because of that there is just no joy to be found in this movie. That is not to say that it's not a good movie. This is a good movie. I liked it quite a bit, but it's a very depressing movie. It really is.
Yeah, it's brutal. It's really brutal, and like it just one thing after another. It just piles on this character, and then until the very end, like. It's we can't say too much, obviously, because we risk talking about spoilers. But, as we get to the end, it's interesting that there's I almost want to say like an illusion of hope. It's hard to really at the very end. Yeah, it's hard to really talk about. But there's this sort of loose thread of hope throughout the movie, and then that thread is cut. And I think Gwen learns a lesson from it based on what it did for her. Yeah, go ahead, Raven Shadow.
No, it just that's. I like the end. Liking the ending. I'm talking to the fucking mic. I don't know if liking the ending is the right term, but it does come full circle in a way. And I'm kind of curious to see when it ended, I want to see that movie afterwards.
Was that like an origin story?
Yeah, it's kind of like,
yeah.
Now, see, I wouldn't. I like the way this movie ended.
Yeah.
Glimmer of hope. We don't know what's going to happen. After everything that happened with these characters, I don't know if I don't even know if I want to see anymore.
Oh, nothing. On one hand, nothing good can come from the ending. That's not really a spoiler, but I mean, it's we're talking about hope and even worse shit. But it's very interesting what happens after the ending.
And I thought that because there was kind of like another crushing sort of thing that happened, and then like at the end, like I think it was the only way. I don't even want to mention names, but like it's the only way that someone could have like gone on, like. So I thought that was, it was an interesting ending, and I mean the film. I think the film is beautiful too. Like I think there's some really subtle horror in this, and maybe this is when we start to talk about horror. But like of figures moving in the darkness, and like just like there's that scene where Gwen is sort of like is awoken at night or couldn't sleep or something like that. I don't remember. And she looked in the corner of the room, and her mom was there, and her mom was had just like, was kind of bound to her bed. So that was kind of a weird thing to see. And then, that whole thing was really fucking creepy, like, so this is all from her perspective. This film is all from Gwen's perspective. And I think that makes it super interesting, based on a lot of things that happen, because you don't get to fill in a lot of the blanks because it's from her perspective, So
Right.
I think it's an interesting way to take it.
And it's true, and I think there's some elements of horror here where what I took from a glance would be, how can I say it, like a symbol of hope, but then realizing that symbol of hope is actually horrible shit coming your way.
Yeah, yeah.
Like light in the darkness should be, oh, it's awesome, it's light in the darkness. Ah, fuck.
Yeah.
It's light in the darkness. That's not good. And there's more lights. And there's more lights. And you know that this is not going to end. It's not hopeful. What happens after that?
Yeah. No. And one little jolty scene that I kind of enjoy, but I think even though we've all been victim to shock scares or false scares or whatever, and but in here it works because the tone of the film doesn't play itself out like that. It's not those kind of scares throughout the entire film. There's really very little scares in this movie. There's a certain dread involved, but nothing truly terrifying. This one little scene kind of caught me off guard, and I think it was played, it's almost kind of cliche in a way if it was played in a kind that has an abundance of these type of scares in their film. But whereas it was the only one, it kind of took me off guard. So it was just a little bit, that much more effective for me. Now, whether or not this is a horror film is a different matter. Personally, I think it is. Not in terms of the fact that it's not in terms of the fact of us watching it, but because we're watching this movie through the eyes of Gwen and the shit that she's dealing with in her life. So in a way, I can understand where some people say this is not a horror film, but because you're seeing this movie through the eyes of Gwen, I would say this is absolutely a horror film.
Yeah, this is honestly, like, I will say, this is one of the most horrifying films I've seen in a while in terms of what happens to a person. Like, I guess we'll get into this a little bit later because I do want to wrap up the discussion soon. But it all depends on like what makes a film a horror film. In this case, there was tense, scary moments. There was some dread involved, but ultimately, this girl had horrible things happen to her, and this is not like, regardless of supernatural things or not, like this. If this happened to you, this would be like the worst possible situation. Like, this is worse than being haunted by a ghost. Like if poltergeist is like, if that's like an option, I'll take that over this.
And definitely, I think if we go there, horror, monsters, blood, guts. But I think at the end of the day, true horror is what humans do to each other.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And that's worse than any like creature or any made up thing,
And the scariest movies I've seen.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, because a lot of times we come up with analogies for the horrible things that people do in real life, and we come up with metaphors for them in monsters. But there's no metaphor here. This is fucking evil people.
Exactly. I mean, and that's how I started watching. I guess the show Adam Ruins Everything or Andy Ruins Everything. Did you ever hear about that show?
I think I did.
Adam. And
hey, he speaks.
Hey, I'm actually fascinated where he's going to go with this.
Yeah.
It was a kid that in the show it takes a certain topic, the myth behind it, and he dropped science on it. And one episode was like a girl being scared of like Halloween monsters. Like, oh, there's so many real monsters in real life. Like, so I would put what humans do to each other way above anything that Freddy, well, maybe not Freddy, but Michael Myers or Leatherface could do.
Mm-hmm.
And the movies that bother me the most. I'll tell you right now, Kevin Bacon, Sleepers.
Yeah, anything that's taken from real life, anything that can actually happen, which is why Combat Shock and Requiem for a Dream, those can be taken from real life. And I'm sure they have been taken from real life from somebody in this world.
Right.
You know? And that's what makes it just that much more dreadful. You know, and it's like a life-sucking abyss. It's like, how much more can you pile on to somebody? And how much more will it take before that person finally cracks or does something, you know, to themselves? And even though the film never addressed this part of it, understand this isn't Gwen isn't like a 13-year-old boy. She's a 13-year-old girl. And we're talking about late 1800s, possibly early 1900s, you know?
Right.
Where
as shitty as that could be now, it's even more shitty.
Oh, it was way shittier back then. You know? I mean, she could be a victim of physical assault.
Several things.
You know?
Several things.
Yeah, many times over. You know? And so her, I mean, even though, you know, she's really trying to hold her shit together. You know, she can't really control what happens on the outside world, and she's really in a vulnerable spot.
The entire family's vulnerable.
Mm. Yeah.
You know.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm just listening to you guys.
Oh, okay. What about Ares? What we haven't heard from him yet. He's looking at me.
I'm sorry. I mean, my opinion of this movie.
And of course, Ares gets cut off by Skype as soon as he starts talking.
Honestly, oh yeah, perfect. Yeah, the fucking man keeping me down.
I'm also talking to Oliver. I want something from you.
I'm saying, well, you know what? To be perfectly honest with you, I'm surprised there's been this much discussion. This movie, in my opinion, this movie is nothing. It's a horrible story involving horrible people that has absolutely zero resolution. Like, if you just want to feel like shit, watch this movie. I don't get it. I'm sorry. I don't understand it. Now, the acting was fine. The cinematography was fine, but the really, why, Johnny? Why did you make me watch this?
Yeah,
like, fuck, like this is just shit. I'm sorry, you know. And the three of you seem to be liking this, and I really I thought it was being like, yeah, fuck off, and we move on. I know I tend to differ with a lot of the movies compared to most people in this room on the computer screen, but I really thought that was going to be the majority, and it was just going to be the resounding fuck off and we move on. So that's why I was like, oh crap, it's one of these shows.
Monaco.
I hate when it's just like I'm the dick who hates the the artsy movie.
It happens to be all the time. Some of the old episodes. Yeah.
Don't worry, you were the dick last week too when you liked Banana Splits.
That was fucking weird.
You know what? I'm happy when I'm the dick who likes something that everyone hates. When I'm the dick who hates the artsy shit, because like you guys are like, where's the fucking razor blade? Where's the noose? Fucking move on. Like, I don't know.
Sell the fucking farm. You can get some new goats.
Jesus.
I just didn't get it.
Sell the
like I got enough shit in my life with the depressing shit that goes on. I don't need to watch I want like a happy like resolution. Like give me the feel good moment at the end. I didn't get that. So
like the Beastmaster rolls in with like his parents.
Something and like something.
Podo and Kodo.
You know what?
Yeah, he gallops in.
Podo and Kodo
If
show up.
Stark came in and just fucking blasted someone, I would have been happy.
That's a fucking movie.
Like,
Star-Lord shows up.
I don't fucking care. Give me something to make me smile.
That's funny.
Some boobs.
All right, so that's my 2 cents.
That was like a quarter's worth, Aries.
That was a quarter? I don't have any change on me. I'm sorry.
So let me just take a quick look at my notes. And yeah, I mean, most of it was just sort of like I was commenting on sort of what was happening. And it just piles up. And so I guess we can kind of move the conversation of what is a horror film, right after the verdict. But do you guys have anything else to say about this flick? No?
No. I got one more thing.
Oh, yeah.
That was 2 fingers. There you go.
So, Aries, 84 minutes was too long for you here?
For this movie, yes.
It was a long 84 minutes. Like, yeah.
No, I thought it was fine.
It was not a fucking breezy film.
I had no problem watching this at all.
And in fact, I did some like little mental math. So how long is 84 minutes? I don't understand that.
84 minutes is 84 minutes.
60 minutes is an hour.
Oh my god.
It's
like an hour and a half, right?
Hour 24.
All right. So
God
I was thinking
damn
about that this morning when I was getting ready. No, I meant for the audience.
For the audience. That's a good excuse.
I know, but no, there's somebody in the back that may not know. That time frame, hour and 20 minutes?
Hour 24!
Okay. So I'll do that in the morning, and that involves, this is what I do in the morning. So I wake up.
You finished the movie because you didn't finish it the night before. Got it?
It's a funny story about that. But
don't make me look.
Don't open doors you can't fucking close, Johnny. Much like when you had access to my laptop. But no, so I get up, be pissed off that I'm awake. But yeah, then I take Ollie out, do some business, smoke a couple of butts, and take a shower. And all that takes more time than watching this film. But this movie took way fucking longer than it takes me to take a shower.
You actually, you watched this in one sitting.
I did.
Yeah, I can see. And you started nice and early, too, for you.
Oh, we did. We started like 7 o'clock, right? 6:30, 7
9 o'clock.
Really?
Yeah.
You stayed awake?
It was fucking hard.
I don't believe you stayed awake.
I did. Marion, tell him.
I believe Marion filled you in on what happened.
No, there was some parts that it was some art. And listen, horror is weird, but there were things that definitely were long. They could have cut certain. This really could have been like an hour, because there were some scenes that kind of went longer and longer.
It could have been 30 minutes.
It could have been 30 minutes. Yeah. It could have been 15 minutes. Hey, shit day. Get this fucking revolution.
All right, let's just
industrialized.
All right.
Let's do the verdict.
Yeah, let me cue Bus Stop right now. How about that? All right.
All right.
Trick or treat, baby.
I wonder if people would say you're a trick or a treat.
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
All right, verdict time. We're going to let you know whether this flick was a trick or treat and any final thoughts we may have. Let's go to Michael Ravenshadow.
I did not like this movie. I did.
When did that change?
Yeah,
it didn't change. It didn't change. It was shot.
I'm surprised too.
It was shot well. Once again, everyone did their jobs and it had an atmosphere, and it if it did Misery very well. It got a +5 for Misery. I will not take that away from it. But I don't know how I could recommend this or want to watch it again. And I didn't have a good time. And there's some movies that you're like, oh, well, I'm having a shake time, but let me see what happens. But I didn't like this. I'm not saying it's a bad film, but I would kind of get into it, and then it would stop. And I kind of get into it again, and it would stop. And I enjoy the conversation, and I feel there's something here. It wasn't done poorly. I just didn't enjoy this. And when we have two options, trick or treat, I would have to say this is a trick for me. But if you like misery-laden shots of fields and dead goats and a weird fucking horse scene, this could be in your wheelhouse. Josh, you probably dig it the most. Apart from Josh. But yeah, man, it's a trick for me. He's just pissed. He's pissed at that.
Yep.
Why? You're not alone now.
Well, no. You know what? Watch this. It's a fucking trick. Move on.
All right, MZ.
All right. Well, the titular character went through a hell of a lot of shit in this movie. I'm not going to say she carried this movie. She didn't. But she does put in a really good performance. I think everyone put in a good performance. But she was put under a lot of shit in this movie. Everything that could possibly happen to her in order for her and her family to get out of where they live. It was just incredible. And I loved it. I did like this movie. I think the atmosphere is definitely there. I like the desaturation of the colors. I think the landscape is very good. I think the performances were very good. I think the foreboding sense of dread is very good. And this is just a movie where, there's no monster in here but man himself. And I think this is worthy of a watch. This might make my top 13 somewhere.
Wow.
And I'm not entirely certain yet. I mean, I have a crap load of tricks this season, so this year, so you don't know. But I did enjoy this. I did like this. And this is a treat for me. Yeah.
I just want to add one amendment. No. I think this does continue a trend where I think it's either started last year or definitely this year of talented actors that fucking do really fucking good jobs. She was great. Gwen was fucking fantastic. I will say that.
Yep. Yeah, for
She's
sure.
amazing. Yeah.
So for me, this was also a trick. Sorry, Jesus Christ, I pulled.
Yeah, go.
I pulled a Raven Shadow. No, this is a treat for me. I thought. I mean, this is a very fucking depressing movie, but it's such a great sort of exercise in tone and dread, and just the ambience. It was just everything about it, like the way it was shot, the way it looked, the colors, the desaturation, like MZ had mentioned. It just everything was there to suit the plot of what was going on and how shitty of a time that this girl had, and it is depressing as fuck, but having said that, I think it's a movie worth watching because I think it's a really strong film, and it's a great feature debut from William McGregor, and I think the performances are outstanding, especially the performance by the girl who plays Gwen, who is Eleanor Worthington Cox. I think just the way that she played it, like this, once again, we talk about make or break. This is a make or break on her, and if she doesn't pull the performance off, the movie fails, but she excelled, and the movie excelled because of her performance as well. So I think she's amazing as Gwen. I think that William McGregor is a director to look forward to what he's going to be doing, because I think this is a really well shot film. It's really well edited, well directed, and I don't have any complaints technically about it. And on top of that, it's just a very simple, well made film. I mean, there's a bunch of different themes here. There's the rich, there's the poor, there's sort of the I hesitate to get too much into it because it is maybe a little bit of a spoiler, but organized religion and maybe heathens or people who because there was a comment in there of like, oh well, it's nice to see you at church, almost like they hadn't seen them in a while. So I think there's a lot of different things going on here, but it's all there in front of you. It's not confusing as to what's happening. There might be some ambiguity about who is doing things or what is happening, but and that's mostly because of the point of view from Gwen's perspective. But I think overall, like, this is a really interesting film. It's going to be difficult about the top 13. I'm not going to make that statement yet, but I think that this is a really strong film, and I think this is certainly not for everybody. I'll make that very clear. This is a mood piece. This is definitely an art house folk horror film. I will state that it is a folk horror in my estimation. So if that's kind of your bag and you don't mind a slow burn where it's going to be depressing as fuck, then go for it. I think there's some great performances and it looks great. So treat for me. And that is going to do it for our discussion of Gwen. It is available on VOD if you guys want to check it out. Give it a look. Speaking of VOD and giving it a look, next week, I'm looking forward to this one. We've been, we actually heard a little bit about this. I'm trying to think. I think it was, I don't remember actually. I don't remember if it was when we had Grady Hendrix on, or maybe it was when we had Dallas on from Fangoria. But we're going to be doing a Fangoria film, and it is written by Grady Hendrix. It's based on one of his books. And let me just double check on that. I think it's a book from him. And no, I guess it's not. I was mistaken. I thought it was a book from Grady, but it is. He wrote the screenplay, so it's a story by Ted Gagan, who did We Are Still Here, if you guys remember that flick.
Oh, yeah.
So Ted had written the story, and the screenplay was written by Grady Hendrix. So, and it's directed by Chelsea Stardust, who, let's see, what has Chelsea done? She did something else that we had done prior. I think she may have been involved in... Actually, no. Okay, so we haven't done anything for her. She's done a bunch of shorts, but this is her first feature. And it stars Rebecca Romaine, Jerry O'Connell, Jordan Ladd, Ruby Modine, Haley Griffith, Jeff Daniel Phillips, AJ Bowen. It's got a pretty Hannah Stocking. It's got a pretty big cast here. So the synopsis: a pizza delivery girl at the end of her financial rope has to fight for her life and her tips when her last order of the night turns out to be high society Satanists in need of a virgin sacrifice.
It sounds like an amalgamation of movies we've already seen.
And I think written by Grady Hendrix, I think this is probably in good hands. So it does seem like it is an amalgamation of a lot of things, but I've been looking forward to this one. So Satanic Panic from Fangoria Films. We're going to be checking that out next week, and it hits September 6th. So if you're watching this live, it hits on Friday, September 6th. So you got plenty of time to check this out in preparation for next week. But if you guys want to leave us your thoughts, feel free to send a voicemail or an email, podcast@trickortreatradio.com. Like to hear from people about this one. All right, and you know what? We're going to skip the second break. We haven't been doing the second break because I want to kind of wrap things up because it is getting close to 11 over here on the East Coast. And we do have one voicemail, and I kind of wanted to talk about the topic at hand. But you know what? let's play that voicemail first because I want to see. I think our boy First Time Mike is going to talk a little bit about the topic here. So I'd like to get his thoughts, and then we can discuss, what we feel is a horror film. So let's hear from First Time Mike.
What's up, Trick or Treat family? This is First Time Mike. How's everybody doing? I saw on Facebook that the subject for tonight was what you thought made up a horror film. And that's a really good question. That's a question that can be answered with a flip phrase, spoken in 30 seconds. You can write books and have whole podcasts dedicated to that subject because horror is one of those meta genres that can be described narrowly or vast. Horror can be added to anything. There can be a movie like think of the Evil Dead series. Evil Dead 1, pretty much straight what you would consider a horror movie. Bloody, gory, transgressive in several scenes. Then Evil Dead 2, very similar story, still not as transgressive in parts, but it was bloody, but with an addition of like a more slapstick feel, and you were laughing at some scenes, but you're still the horrible situation. And then you come to Army of Darkness, a movie that has more of the horror trappings of the thing, but much more action orientated than a straight up horror movie. Think of horror that way. Horror is something that can be added as an ingredient that can be added to, or can be used to sprinkle on liberally into a movie. Something like, again, another movie. Think of Hellraiser. Hellraiser was scary to me because I had read Clive Barker, but this was the first time I saw one of his movies where you saw his type of horror. It was a more bloody, visceral. They were demon type characters, but they weren't like the demons you saw before. So there was a whole lot of what the fuck is going on here? What are these SMN guys doing? And there was an otherworldliness about it. The second movie had some of that. You learned more about the different trappings of Barker's hell, and it was a little bit more cosmic, but the horror was still there. Once you started getting into more of the sequels, you started losing a lot of the visceralness of the horror, the fear, the unknown, where even where again the horror is diluted in the sequels to the point where Pinhead becomes basically the crypt keeper of the Hellraiser movies instead of a potent, like the potent force for evil, or even just the dark mythos of Hellraiser that he was in the first movie. Horror for me doesn't need blood. One of the creepiest movies to me to this day is still Carnival of Souls, which is incredibly nightmarish, and there's no blood whatsoever. It's filmed with a stark black and white, and I've seen it a dozen times, and even if there's a clip of Carnival of Souls in something with those pasty ghoul-like creatures or Herc Harvey in that makeup, I still get that chill down my spine, because that is a creepy movie that reaches something inside of me and makes me a little frightened, and it just goes to the scary part. Like another example is, I'm just rambling on at this point, but again, for me, like a horror movie, I think the best horror movies make you feel either fear or disgust or something transgressive. There's some horror movies that are more comedy than horror, but you remember both parts, liberally. I know this was a lot of rambling, but it's a really hard subject to discuss. I mean, this is the type of stuff that you guys do on here, and these are the type of discussions that I would have in the basement of my local game store with friends if we were talking about certain movies for hours, and not everybody would agree on a subject. But this is First Time Mike. Hope you guys all have a good day. Hope your holiday was good. Back to the grind, because a holiday week in the grocery business means I get off at the beginning of the week, and I'm paying for all my fun the rest of the week. So this is first time Mike saying good night. Thanks for listening. Bye.
All right, first time Mike. I think it's interesting the way he put it, and he actually gave me some interesting things to think about as well. But do you guys have any comments about first time Mike's thoughts before we give our own?
Well, I mean, okay. Fuck it up. I'll go first. Yeah, fuck off. I think he's right with the difficulty in defining horror. I think you run into that same thing that the porn industry actually runs into, is you can't really define porn, but you know it when you see it.
Yeah, I do. I can define porn.
Of course you can. You've seen enough of it.
I mean, it's one of those things that, you can say that, a horror movie has to have this or this or this, but it's just like, okay, well, and then someone could point out an example that this movie doesn't have that, but it's a horror movie. Okay, yeah, that's an exception. Oh, that's an exception. It's one of those things where it's like I said, like porn, where it's one of those things, it's very broad. You can point at it and go, that's a horror movie, but to define it, it is very difficult because there are so many aspects of it that make it what it is.
Exactly. Because we're all scared of something that's, we're all scared of something different. When people say, when a horror film is bloody or gory, that only works if the person watching the film doesn't like blood and it is queasy of blood or gore or anything. That's how that works.
Cool. By that rationale, though, I mean, and when many of the guys on the panel mentioned this, if blood's your litmus test, well, then what about the fucking Night Comes for Us?
Yeah,
because there's way more fucking blood than that than probably 13 of the Friday the 13th movies.
Sure. Well, yeah. What about Rambo?
Yeah. Right. Kill Bill or whatever the fuck. 1 and 2. Yeah. Was more.
I mean, that's the thing. You can pick out aspects of horror movies and say, okay, horror movies are bloody. Okay, but then you have these movies that are bloody that aren't horror movies. Right. Okay, horror movies are scary. Okay, we have these movies that are scary that aren't horror movies. Like, there are movies that can be scary that aren't horror movies. Like, example, Outbreak, Dustin Hoffman.
Right.
That's a fucking scary movie.
Right. Because it's fucking.
Because it's possible.
It's about a possible plane. It's fucking terrifying. Is it a horror movie?
Right.
Absolutely not. But it's terrifying.
You're absolutely right. I mean, it goes back to even like probably one of the first movies I was scared about. We talked about this was Trilogy of Terror with Karen Black.
Mm-hmm.
So 4-year-old Raven Shadow was scared to fucking death of that. But me and at least from 23 on, this is probably not a movie that bothered me more than, I've said this before, was Vulgar. The fucking clown movie with Dante from Clerks.
Yeah, but that's disturbing. That's not.
But that stuck with me more than any slasher, any Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I could not watch Clerks for like 5 years and see that. I made the Kevin Bacon reference from Sleepers. I couldn't watch fucking Footloose, for the longest fucking time.
Well, I wouldn't watch Footloose.
But I mean, like, movies that disturb you.
I mean, that's getting to the aspect of the whole porn thing is the eye of the beholder. Like, Vulgar is a horror movie to him because it triggered that feeling in him.
I'm like, oh, well, I'm like virtually desensitized to these sort of things.
Because you're fucking insane.
Thank you. But with horror also, it's also suspense. It's It's all about wondering what's going to happen next, not what's happening now. Because I always think a horror movie, if done well, I think the journey through a horror movie is much more satisfying than the destination.
Well, I mean, you're talking in too broad of terms. That's the horror is too broad of a term for a movie because there are so many subgenres to that Just to try to pigeonhole horror movie, that's just too broad of a term. It fits so much. You can say, "Oh, I'm a fan of the horror movies," but once you really get into it, if you are really a fan of horror movies, you hate that term because no movie fits just into that title. Like, what movie is just a horror movie?
Blair Witch Project.
It's just a horror movie?
Just a horror movie?
Yeah, well, it's not a musical.
Okay, but there's no suspense in that?
It's a horror movie.
In what?
There's no suspense in it?
Sure.
Okay, well then it's suspense
But
movie.
suspense is
That's what I mean, but that's what I'm trying to say. The horror name is just so broad of a term that you can't just say that's what it is. It's a slasher movie, it's a suspense movie, it's a gore movie. It's just a broad term that society puts on anything that it doesn't quite grasp, can't wrap its mind around.
It's a blanket term, and I'm perfectly fine with it. Because otherwise we'd be calling every movie a suspense thrill. There'd be 15 different titles for some. Horror is a blanket term, and I'm perfectly fine with it. Otherwise, you have a suspense, thriller, drama, crime, comedy.
For the blanket term, it's fine, but to try to pigeonhole a single movie into that, you can't. Right?
Because every movie has.
Maybe I'm just having trouble trying to say what I'm saying with it. That the term is just a little too broad for me.
No, I get what you're saying, but I think every movie has that problem. Not just those in horror, but there's dramas, action films, adventure films, which are almost the same thing. Comedies, westerns, sci-fi.
No, because I feel that horror, there's so many subgenres in the horror that it differs from other things. Like comedy, there's always comedic aspects to it. An action movie, there's always action aspects. There's not always what is the horror aspect to every movie, in the horror movie genre. A slasher film doesn't have the same suspense as the Blair Witch Project.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's a broader term than a lot of the other movie terms. You understand what I'm saying?
You're right.
With action, comedy, mystery, they all have what their name is. Horror. What is horror? It's so difficult to define that word.
The most horrifying movies wouldn't be in the horror section.
Which is?
Well, like I said, I think it's some of the ones that are more based in real life. We mentioned Requiem for a Dream.
What? Yeah.
Horrifying. I would take.
How about based in real life? Say movies like Schindler's List or TorTR.
Yes. Schindler's List is a perfect example. To most people, it is a horrifying movie, but to someone who lived through that, or even just someone who knows someone who lived through something like that, a Jewish person, absolutely terrifying.
With that said, Saving Private Ryan. I'm talking to my grandfather, who was in World War II, when he fucking fought Nazis for real. Like many of our grandparents, I'm like, is that what it was like? He was like, yep. Being that first guy in that boat coming to fucking Normandy. I would rather face Jason, Michael Myers any day of the week than the first guy in that fucking boat.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Ghostbusters. Horror comedy? It's a fucking comedy, right? You know what I mean? And I think we talked about before, what section of the video store is going to be in? Is Iron Man a sci-fi or is it a superhero movie? And to your point, even earlier, MZ, for superhero films, air quotes. I don't know if you could put Shazam or Captain Marvel in the same conversation as, say, Captain America: Civil War, or maybe Nolan's Dark Knight. Where they're dealing with superheroes, but maybe a little more of I mean, Captain America, Winter Soldier, rather. Winter Soldier was a John Grisham movie with the guy who had a shield. You know what I mean? Or like,
it was a very espionage.
I'm sorry, not John Grisham. Who was the guy who writes all the fucking political shit?
Crichton?
Yeah, well, Johnny fucking political. Fuck.
Johnny
All the
political.
Harrison. Yeah, the Harrison Ford movies. You know, but I think, I don't know. I'm actually fascinated about what Johnny Wolfenstein's going to say next.
Well, I actually kind of agree with what Aries said in terms of, you know, it's you know it when you see it. I think the big thing is, like, there's not one thing that, like, comedy is easy. Does it make you laugh? Right? Like, that's easy to define. Does it make you laugh? Yes, it's comedy. But horror is so nebulous. It's like, is it gore? Well, yes. Is it dread? Well, yeah. Is it you know, jump scares? Yeah, it can be. But it's just such a nebulous definition, and I think it really depends on what is horror to you, because it plays on fears and it plays, you know. So I guess the thing for me, and it's, I know what a horror film is to me, despite the fact that not much scares me. I'm pretty desensitized and I'm hard to scare, you know, so not a lot of stuff scares me. So if that was my razor to sort of like see what things are, then not much would be a horror film to me, because not much scares me. But I think the thing to me is, like, in this case, using Gwen as an example, horrible things were done to her by evil people, and it impacted her in a very negative way. To me, that is pure horror. Because as we sort of mentioned or alluded to in that film discussion, a lot of times horror is used as a metaphor for things that are happening in real life, whether it be politics or religion or just whatever, and it's juxtaposed onto a monster or something horrible happening. And then we say, oh, I see the analogy in there. I see the metaphor. And, you know, but it's really a supernatural creature that's doing these things or something like that. But in this case, it just foregoed the metaphor and went straight to evil fucking rich people preying on the poor. That to me is real life, and nothing is scarier than fucking real life.
Right.
You know, and losing your house, like Raven Shadow. I mean, I know you're going through some like you know, remortgaging and shit, like losing your house. That shit's scary, you know, like.
Oh, totally. It's throw it out there. It's official. It belongs to your boy Raven Shadow.
Oh,
now.
Nice.
Very excited. Yeah.
Let's punch some holes in some walls.
Yeah, let's slow it down now. It's fucking mine now. Yeah. But yeah, it's official. But no, exactly. That's scarier than fucking dealing with fucking bank loans and being fucking judged for your fucking credit score. You know, come at me, fucking Jason.
But I mean, the difference between, you know, a horror movie and reality is that whole fantasy aspect of it. Which this movie differs from that, because it is a lot of reality based. You know, a child's afraid to go home because his father beats him. That's the drama. A child afraid to go to sleep because Freddy's going to kill him. That's a horror movie.
Right.
But it's that same fear.
And I mean, the guy getting bucks. I had the very vivid. So, and I think it was the sheer number of the threat, even with the fucking Colonial Marines or whatever the fuck. And also,
game over, man. Game over.
Like, you got fucking Hicks, you got fucking Michael Biehn, all those fucking guys. But they were scary. And also, the Freddy's power of going to your dream. Well, fuck. I can be the safest place I am, but Freddy can get you when you sleep. That's
you're fucking bed. You're asleep. That's it. You're supposed to be safe. That's it. You're under the sheets. Sheets are supposed to protect you. Right. It doesn't matter what monster's in the room. If you're under your sheet, you're safe.
Yep.
It's like I didn't go to camp because I don't like fucking bugs and outside. So fuck you, Jason. You know, going in my the above ground pool, my uncle's house. Fuck you. I ain't going out there. But you gotta go to bed, right? You gotta go to bed, and that's when Freddy can get you. And that's good. And you have to fucking see the movies. Just know that Freddy was a thing.
Yeah, that he'd get you while you sleep. Oh yeah, that's terrible.
You know, but there's some horror where it's like, yeah, it's your splatter, it's your gore, and it's just let's throw a fun horror movie on. Or it's your psychological shit, and you can get crazy with what section of the video store it's going to go into. We've talked about that. You know, I mean, what Clockwork was in the sci-fi section.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because it's in the future, maybe.
And the so-called
treatment.
future.
Well, sci-fi, that's another broad term.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's no longer spaceships and planets and shit like that.
No, anything that's
and
dealing
robots
with fictional science is considered sci-fi.
Right. I love this movie. That's a fucking horror movie too. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Have you seen that joint with Jim Carrey? If you were in any relationship anywhere with a significant other, that is fucking horrifying. You know, that would be a sci-fi flick. Ain't no fucking lightsabers up in there.
So first time Mike says I like Aries' definition a lot, and yeah, I would agree with that. It's one of those things that you just know when you see it, you know, and it's hard. Like I mean, part of me does. Although the other thing is, like, part of me wants to argue with people that say like Gwen wasn't a horror movie. Like it absolutely was. Like that's the thing. Like
it was.
While I think it is up to each person to decide, you know, I think that there's just some standard things that you just have to take into account. And, you know, these horrible things happening by evil people, that's a horror movie, you know? So, you know, but on the same token of like, first time Mike was talking about, I mean, obviously Evil Dead, all three Evil Dead movies, the original anyways, have something, like they're all slightly different, you know, like Evil Dead is more of a horror film, and Evil Dead 2 has some horror with some slapstick, and Army of Darkness is straight up almost comedy at times, you know. So, you know, and it also has sci-fi sort of, you know, stuff going on. So, you know, I guess, but there's enough binding it together because there's monsters, there's dread, there's horrible things happening to Ash, and, you know.
Well, that's almost more action than horror.
Sure,
it's action, but it was, you know, there's definitely comedy in Army of Darkness, but it's still, Ash was the comedy part. All the Deadites were a real threat to the kingdom.
No, the Deadites were comedic.
But they were still comedic. But I mean, you know,
well, there was a threat, but they were still comedic.
But they were still dangerous. Even the kind of Shaun of the Dead, as funny as that was, shit got fucking real at the bar.
But the difference between that is the comedic aspects all happened because of the people, not because of the zombies. In Army of Darkness, there was a lot of comedic aspects that happened because of the Deadites.
Do you think that was because of Ash's influence on evil Ash's influence? Being born,
an argument could be made, but
being born from
but I mean, there were comedic aspects involved in those Deadites, which lays, you know, more argument towards that's a comedy movie, not a horror movie. Not that I'm saying I agree with that, but that just adds to that argument.
Then you get a little too hung up on the minutiae of the details on that.
Well, I mean, you could argue that every movie needs to have one specific title that it needs to go to. It's a horror movie with comedy or action. It's a mystery that has some drama and, you know, whatever. You know, every movie needs to have that one title. I mean, you could. That's what I'm saying. That I agree with that, but there's arguments that need to be made that, you know, it needs to fit into one thing. If you need to go into the blockbuster and find it, where would you look for it? Action, comedy, sci-fi. You know, like where would a single movie fit?
But almost
that's the argument for any movie, though.
But almost, if you would describe anything, whether it was a movie or your favorite band or your podcast, it wouldn't be, it's dick jokes. Oh, it's dick jokes, but discussions and argument. Everything has more than one thing. You know, Airheads. Oh, it's like metal power slop. You know, kind of shit. You know,
well, Airheads, is it a comedy? Is it a musical?
Not music, I would say. Well, yeah, they did sing.
Is music involved? Like,
right.
But I mean, like, but it's also it's a kidnapping movie.
Right.
Not that that's a genre, but I mean, there's different aspects to every movie. That's what you if you needed to pigeonhole a movie, you need to figure out what the core aspect of a particular movie is.
Right, like a rom-com musical porn. Like there's no section for that.
Well, yeah, well that's the thing. They came up with titles to squeeze movies into certain things. Rom-com. They made that. It's not a romantic movie. It's not a comedy movie. It's a rom-com. You know what? So someone needs to make action comedy, horror comedy. Like come up with a catchy title.
Right.
A horror-com. And you have your new genre, your new shelf on Blockbuster. Am I really dating myself here?
No. No, not entirely.
No. I made 2 Blockbuster references. I think I am.
Yeah.
What cue is that on the Netflix?
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
What you
So,
fucking do is
I mean-
watch shit.
Yeah, I think this is one that we could probably go back and forth and add more to, but I think we'll probably leave it at that. And I would love to get some other opinions. So if anyone else thinks we're wrong, if they think a horror movie has to have certain criteria, let us know. Send us that voicemail or an email, podcast@trickortreatradio.com. Because I think this is one of those debates that, as First Time Mike said, that he'd have in his basement with his friends or whatever, So I think it's one of those ones that, can go on and we can have over and over. So
What's funny too, like Jaws, right? Jaws is a movie in the horror section. Jaws is a horror movie.
It's a horror movie.
Or is it a monster movie? Now,
It's not a monster movie.
That's kind of
Why is
fucking
it not a monster movie?
It's not a monster. It's an animal.
It's a monster.
An animal. It's not
Animals
a monster.
can't be monsters?
Frankenstein is a monster.
Cujo's an animal.
That's right, an animal.
He's a monster.
he disagrees.
agree.
Yeah, he disagrees.
All is a Cujo.
Are you the new Cujo?
But like, I would put Jaws as a horror movie over Rampage with The Rock. Both monster movies in a sense, but Rampage wouldn't be a horror movie.
Oh, the video game movie.
It's a video game movie.
I haven't seen it.
You don't
So
have to see
I
it.
can't say.
But I mean, you don't have to fucking see it.
But well, I mean, a monster movie is a horror movie. We go into the horror movie section. It's not a monster movie section.
I think Rampage should be in the action section.
Without seeing it, I'd have to agree.
Yeah.
All right. Let's
yeah. All right.
cue something to stop us.
Yeah.
We'll keep on going.
So
You need to be here, Johnny.
well, be nice to fix the studio. That would be a good reason to be there. All right. Well, I think we should start winding things down. It's getting late, and I know you guys some of you got to drive home. I know Ravenchow doesn't. Me and Ravenchow have the beauty of just
Oh yeah.
going into the next room. Although,
Interstate high five, Johnny.
Yeah. So fuck
Do it on
you,
your
fuck
end. Do
you.
it on your end.
although no, I'm not doing it on my end because I still have to upload the podcast and do the show notes. So you don't have to do that.
Yeah. So he's got work. You can
He
go
doesn't
back
have
in
time to raise his
Yeah,
hand.
you could just
No, I
go.
do it.
You can just go right to bed.
Wrong verb, Johnny.
So that is going to do it. If you guys have any additional thoughts about it, though, please send them our way. I'd love to hear what you think constitutes a horror film. What criteria does a horror film need to have for you? So I think we'll go around the room now and say our goodbyes, starting with MZ.
Arrivederci, douchebags.
Aries.
Sayonara.
All right, Raven Shadow.
He's
Not so bad, hard die with the mask on.
All right, so that's going to do it for us. A big thanks to everyone who tuned in, who hung out with us. First time Mike for sending us an awesome voice message, as he always does. And also to everyone who's going to listen to this podcast, we appreciate you guys tuning in. And, just one more comment about the tech issues. We have one more sort of Hail Mary that we're going to try for next week. So, and you know what? Like, honestly, like, I think I think a lot of it is like my frustration about it, and like some people have commented, and were like, "Oh, it's not that bad," It's because I'm used to a certain standard, and in the studio in Castle Wolfenstein, I could control every aspect of it, and I could make it sound as good as possible. And now like stuff's out of my control, and that kind of like it just kind of like bugs me where I can't do something about it. So, this is, we are going to have Skype issues just because that's just the way it goes with Skype and the internet. So we will have some of those issues here and there, as I know kind of happened tonight a few times. But, that's sort of the new paradigm, and we'll have some things here and there. But, I think we got some good conversation. We had some fun tonight, and hopefully the quality will just kind of improve from here as we go. So we appreciate all you guys hanging with us and tuning in. And I'm looking forward to next week. So we're going to talk about Satanic Panic, the latest film from Fango Films. And if you guys get a chance to check it out, let us know what you think. Or if you have any thoughts about this week's show or any others, send us that message, podcast@trickortreatradio.com. And we haven't got any reviews in a while. So if you guys listen to us, have never given us a review, especially on Apple Podcasts, that's the one that matters the most. Go ahead and give us a 5-star review and let folks know what you dig about the show and what might help them tune in. Because, like if you guys all shop on Amazon or online, and reading reviews really helps you to pick a product, right? So if you're looking at like, oh, I need a new podcast, let me look at this one. And right now, a lot of our reviews go back years. Like we haven't gotten too many in the last couple of years. And I think people might think that, hey, this podcast probably isn't running anymore because they don't have any new reviews. So I think that'll really help. So if you guys do dig what you hear, go ahead and just leave a review. Click the 5 stars, and then also let folks know what they might like about it. Like if there's something you like, if you think we're funny, you think we're insightful, you think we're dummies, whatever, just let people know. We'd appreciate it because it definitely will help. And especially because Apple Podcasts changed their categories, and so now we are in a new category. We're in film reviews as opposed to just TV and film, and so it gets a little bit more eyes and ears on us, and we're actually ranking a little bit higher now because I don't think a lot of other people have done that yet. So I'd love to get some additional reviews. So if you guys have not done it, consider doing so. If you don't use Apple Podcasts, borrow someone's phone that does. Or you can just go on iTunes and create an iTunes account real quick and leave feedback on iTunes right there. So, well, that is it. So we appreciate you guys tuning in. Next week, we'll be talking about Satanic Panic. Looking forward to that one. And we'll see you guys next week. So from Castle Wolfenstein and from the Lair of Lost swag in the Raven Chateau, we're out.